Hello, listener. This is John from the Josh's Dartistry podcast. Thank you for downloading the show. Before we play you episode number 13 of the Josh's Dartistry podcast, just a brief word of warning. Unfortunately, we had a couple of audio issues with the recording this time round, and therefore the audio quality is not the usual crystal clear quality that you are used to receiving from us on the Josh's Dartistry podcast. Not to worry, the audio is perfectly legible, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it nonetheless. And just wanted to let you know that we had a couple of problems, but fear not. When we return for episode 14, we will have ironed out all the kinks and sorted it all out. So with that said, enjoy the show.
This is Nathan Aspinall, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Hello and good morning to you, and it is a very good morning because for the first time in JDP history we're recording in the morning. It's light outside. I was up at stupid o'clock this morning to set up the equipment and let the two pair of plonkers to my left and my right in through my front door this morning. So it's quite a strange one for me. Bit of an early start. I've had some breakfast though, so we're all good. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Welcome to episode 13. Unlucky for some, but not for us. We're still here. Episode 13 of the Josh's Dartistry podcast. Loads of darts over the last few weeks since we last recorded. Plenty to discuss in the show today. Before we tell you what's on the agenda for episode 13, though, let me introduce you to the team. The man, the myth, the legend on my right-hand side, of course, it's Josh Gorton. How are you, Josh?
I'm very well, thanks, John. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Starting to get busy at work again now, though, so my time is of a premium. It's been hard for us to sort of find a date for us to fit this episode in, isn't it? That's probably why we're recording at stupid o'clock this morning.
It has, yeah, but I mean, like I say, loads of darts been happening over the last few weeks, so it should be a good one, John.
And I take it you've been a busy boy yourself, Josh, with all the darts going on?
Yeah, very busy. Obviously, the UK Open happened a couple of weeks ago, which we'll reflect on. Also, obviously, the Premier League keeps on going 6 weeks, 6 nights down now, and Rotterdam is on the horizon. I'm going there in just over a week, so can't wait for that.
Josh is going out on the lash?
No, just work, please, John. Only work.
I'm sure we'll come to Rotterdam and we'll have a good chat about Premier League, the results that we've had so far. For the 4, 5, and 6, Exeter, Aberdeen, and of course Nottingham.
Indeed, yeah.
We'll come on to Rotterdam, I'm sure, and have a little chat about what's going to be going down. Although I think we've got Berlin before.
Berlin next week, yeah, that should be a good one.
Okay, cool. Now then, normally at this point I would introduce Neil Connor to the show. Unfortunately, once again, for the second time in JDP history, Neil Connor is not available. Josh, not managed to make it today.
No, he's becoming the Darren Anderton of the Judgement Night podcast.
He is, yeah. We're going to have a production meeting, I think, about Neil's future inclusion because it's the second show that he's missed. God bless him. Neil's going away on business again. I think he's off early doors tomorrow morning, isn't
Dubai,
he?
I believe.
Dubai,
yeah.
And he's probably at home packing his case as we speak. What sort of essential items do you think Neil would have in his travel suitcase?
Probably Liverpool's greatest victories in Europe, probably.
Yeah, it would be quite a short DVD.
Well, your History Channel.
Yeah, I reckon he'd need a good internet connection so he could stay on all the betting websites that he's on, so he could have a bet.
And his football index, he loved that, didn't he?
And his football index, yeah. So anyway, listen, Neil, sorry you're not with us, buddy. Hopefully you have a good trip, and we look forward to bringing you back on the show for episode 14. Josh, that means that Neil's not in charge of Challenge Josh this morning. How does that make you feel?
Well, that's a positive, but the negative is you're in charge.
Yes, I am. Evil laugh. Yeah, we'll come on to that a bit later. Therefore, we have a space available. The chair on my left needs occupying, and coming off the bench for the third time, making his third appearance, hat-trick, Josh. Have we got something to present to him for his hat-trick, or...?
We've already got the JDP mug for winning the last man standing.
He has got the JDP.
We can't give him another one, can we?
He has got the JDP mug for winning the last man standing. So that should be a bit of a giveaway as to who the man is. Filling Neil's boots on my left-hand side, Jordan Harrison. How are you, bud?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, John.
First of all, congratulations. You won the inaugural Last Man Standing. I don't know, Josh, if we need a steward's inquiry because effectively a member of our team won the... I know Josh...
Neil was delighted, wasn't he?
He was. I know Jordan only stands in every now and then for us, but I hope we don't get too many complaints. But yeah, Jordan, congratulations. How'd you feel?
Yeah, very happy. Bit upset that I'm out of this one already, and I'm still waiting for my mug from Neil.
Oh dear.
That's why I've not showed up.
So on the final night, there was just you and another Jeffrey Flex, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
And Jeffrey went for. Can we remember who he went for on the final night? No, who did you go for, Jordan?
I went for Smith. Yeah.
And Jeffrey's pick, I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but Jeffrey lost out unfortunately, and Jordan strode through the finishing line to pick up the win. So many congratulations, Jordan. We've had a lot of darts on television recently, UK Open and the Premier League, obviously rolling on. Have you managed to catch much of the darts?
Yeah, got to watch a lot of the Premier League. The trouble with the UK Open is if you're at work on a Friday, you miss half the event. So I kept up to date, but I didn't get to see much apart from the final of the UK Open. But did watch that, and new major winner. Yes,
we have, and we'll come on to discuss that in a very short while. Josh, we've had obviously, as I mentioned at the top of the show, 3 Premier League nights since we last recorded, and it's all been going off, hasn't it?
Yeah, really tight at the top. We'll come to that a little bit later on, but Marco van Gerwen looking to top the league for the 7th successive year. Not had his all his own way in the last few weeks. It's been a little bit tough for him. So.
Yeah, not been as predictable as some would have had it recently.
No, and heading into night 6, there was a 4-way lead at the top, so really competitive. And obviously now only 3 more nights until Judgement Night, so it's hotting up.
Jordan mentioned there Nathan Aspinall. Of course, we're going to have a chat about the UK Open, and he did the business, Josh.
He certainly did. Yeah, I mean, he had a great run to the World Championship semi-finals over Christmas. Won a Pro Tour title last September. That really did kind of kick-start his career, and we'll be having a chat with Nathan later on.
Yeah, you managed to secure an interview with the man.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. He's been in demand this week, obviously, as you can imagine. Premier League debut in Nottingham, which we'll come to, obviously his UK Open success. But yeah, really good chat with Nathan, really interesting interview, and he gave some very good insight.
Excellent stuff. Look forward to that. Jordan, in Neil's absence, you're going to be taking on the mantle of resident odds checker. What are we going to be having a look at in the odds section, Jordan?
So we're going to look at the next week in the Premier League, go through that, and then we'll be looking at the European Tour and the European Darts Open and the German Darts Championship.
Yeah, we've already had a few qualifiers, haven't we, for the Euro Tour? We've had 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 was last night, Josh,
That's
I believe.
Correct, yeah, in Wigan. It's Pro Tour weekend this weekend, Players Championship 7 and 8 in Wigan. So we had the qualifiers last night, 2 more. Brilliant standard 2-9 darters, which we'll discuss later on.
Okay, after that, we will attempt to make Josh quiver in his boots. Well, I will anyway, with this episode's challenge, Josh. Josh, any ideas on what the subject matter may be? Last time out, it was the life and times of Michael van Gerwen. Any idea what this week's challenge, Josh, might be?
I haven't got a clue, John, but I'm sure you'll surprise me.
That's the aim, and then after that we'll round up any news stories that we've seen going on. We'll come on to it, but lots of chat about Corey Cadby doing the rounds at the moment, Josh.
Yeah, very exciting news about Corey Cadby. We know obviously he's been sidelined from PDC action for about 12 months now, but he'll be returning very soon. So more on that later.
Wonderful, and then to finish the show, as ever, we will turn to our Q&A, Josh's Twitter chatter section. Josh, I know you asked for some questions to come in on social media. Had a few responses, have we?
Yeah, 6 or 7 questions, John, so we'll be discussing them later on.
Lovely, lots to get our teeth into. Well then, gentlemen, that's what we've got coming up for episode 13. Hope you all enjoy the show, and here we go.
I feel happy, won't you call me on the telephone?
Call the boys on 07739 738 329. That's 07739 738 329 and leave them a message.
This is Dan Dawson and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Okay, Josh, first things first. Let's take a look at the UK Open, shall we? Give us a little roundup, bud.
I think we recorded just the week before the UK Open last time,
yeah.
John, in Minehead. So it's the FA Cup of Darts, renowned for causing great shocks and upsets, and we saw a new surprise major winner in the form of Nathan Aspinall.
Can we remember what odds Aspinall was? Did Neil bring us any odds?
I think I mentioned about a host of 4 or 5 young players who I thought could be dangerous. I think he's around about 125 to 1.
Wow, I wonder if anyone backed that.
But I mean, he had a great World Championship, got to the semi-final, showed his potential there. had a good start to the Pro Tour season. Beat Van Gerwen 6-1 in the Pro Tour event last month. But yeah, carried it on brilliantly in Minehead. And I'll run you through his route to the title now. I mean, he kicked off against Tony Alcinas, Spanish star, dangerous player, beat him 6-3. Then it got into the fourth round and the longer format, best of 19, where he beat Christian Kist 10-9. That was a real tight affair. Kist was leading for large periods. Beat Madas Razma 10-2. Comprehensive win, that one. Then in the last 16, he faced Steve Lennon. Now, we also saw Steve Lennon as a contender in the Premier League a couple of weeks ago. Lennon was 7-3 ahead, looking like he was going to close out victory. And
yeah, really turned it round, didn't he?
Yeah, some really big finishes at key times from Aspinall to come back and win 10-8, and that secured his place in the quarterfinals. There, he faced Ross Smith, who also was reaching his first PDC TV quarterfinal, and Aspinall took out a brilliant 170 finish en route to victory, to 10-6 win. Very good for Aspinall. Then he faced Gerwyn Price, the man of the moment, really. Price was probably the standout player in the tournament. Consistently averaged over 100, looked like the odds-on favourite to win the title. But just as we saw at the World Championship, where Aspinall beat Price, he repeated the feat, 11-9, really good win over the Iceman to reach his first PDC televised final. And there he took on Rob Cross, the world champion. Now, Cross defeated Michael Smith in the semi-finals, was a big favourite to win the title, but he was really, really tired, fatigued. He didn't have the energy. I think he averaged 84, which is unheard of for Rob Cross. He's been averaging over 100 throughout the Premier League season. But Aspinall dug in well, took his chances, and won the title in fairy tale style. 170 finish to win it.
A lot of people's hot tip to win the tournament, probably owing to the fact of how many of the big stars dropped out early doors. We'll talk about that in a second. But interesting for me, Josh, was the semi-final against Gerwyn Price. I think by the time we got to that stage, a lot of people were backing Price to go on and take the title.
Yeah, I did a poll on my Twitter account on the day of the finals day, and I said who will win the title. And I think over 50% voted for Gerwyn Price. I mean, he was brilliant throughout the tournament. He was unbeaten.
Seemed to be the natural choice because he's in such good form coming into the tournament, wasn't he?
Oh, he was indeed. And I mean, on paper, no disrespect to Nathan, but obviously on paper, Gerwyn's draw against Nathan was the better draw. You had Michael Smith and Rob Cross playing each other in the other semi-final. But Nathan, he's not scared of the big names. He's proven that over the last couple of months, and he played really, really well. He was leading 7-3, I think, at one stage, and Price pulled it back, but he held his nerve really well, Nathan, so fair play to him.
Jordan, did you catch the final?
Yeah, I did. Quality wasn't as good from Cross. I think, as Josh mentioned, he was quite tired, and the quality of the standard probably wasn't as high as it was through the rest of the tournament, but came to life at the end with the 170 checkout. It was a brilliant way to finish, and him and his granddad as well looked delighted with it. So.
He almost became a bit of a mini celebrity himself, did Granddad, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a lot of airtime.
That was brilliant to see. Like I say, I mean, his granddad introduced him to the game of darts. They were there as fans just a few years ago, and now he's a UK Open champion. So it's kind of Raw the Rovers stuff, really.
Yeah, it is a bit of a fairy tale, and I'm really pleased for Aspinall. Really, just because it's a different name and it's an emerging star and someone, Josh, hopefully we can look forward to the future and include their name in potential major winners in future.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the future's very bright now. The development tour, the standard and the youth tour now is tremendous. And Aspinall, it's incredible. I mean, 18 months ago, he didn't hold a PDC tour card. Now he's into the world's top 16. He's a major champion. And he's only 27 years old, so he's only going to get better. A
lot of the questions we get asked in our Q&A section, Josh, I think one of the most frequently asked questions is who do we see as an emerging star? And, trying to predict it is difficult. We have discussed Aspinall's name as one of those potentials. But now it's another one off the list. We've got another major winner, and hopefully he can go on and prove that the talent and the ability that he's got is genuine and he's here to stay.
He performed superbly well at the Worlds, as I mentioned earlier on in the show. But I think what was most impressive about his UK Open run was the fact how he performed so well in adversity. I mean, 7-3 down against Lennon, didn't fold, took out some brilliant checkouts to come back. Against Cross as well, it was his first major final. They were both fatigued because you're having to play 3 long format games over one day, which is something I'm not really comfortable with. I mean, I understand obviously it's a very long tournament, 160 players, you've got to fit it all in and make sure it's done by Sunday night. But both players are really tired. And with his lack of experience, it would have been easy for him to kind of capitulate. But he actually really dug in well and produced when it mattered, so fair play to him.
As I alluded to at the start of our little chat, Josh, we had a lot of early doors, high-profile competitors getting knocked out.
Yeah, for the second year in succession, Michael Van Gerwen was beaten on the opening night. He lost to Jeffrey Deswan 12 months ago, and this time he was beaten by Mervyn King, which was very interesting. I think we mentioned on the last show, Mervyn and Michael had a clash at the Players' Championship, and I think Michael called Mervyn a disgrace to darts. because
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I just took a mouthful of water as you said that, and I nearly spat it out all over the mixing desk. But yeah, sorry, go on.
I think Michael was questioning Mervyn's attitude in one of their Players' Championship games, saying he wasn't really putting in 100% effort, but he certainly did put 100% effort in Minehead. Brilliant finishing from Mervyn King. Rolled back the ears, if you like, to knock out Michael van Gerwen. We saw Gary Anderson returning from his back injury, lost to Steve Beaton 10-8 in a really high-quality contest. Peter Wright lost to Mensur Sulovic. Peter Wright averaged over 106, but still went out. Adrian Lewis was also another high-profile casualty, as was Raymond van Barneveld. So 5 of the 5 world champions, 5 former UK Open champions, all beaten on the opening night.
Did Gary Anderson look in any discomfort? I mean, obviously he's been knocked out, so he's not had the greatest game. But was there any signs of the back pain or anything troubling him while he was on stage, Josh?
His throw looked like it has changed a little bit. I suppose obviously having to compensate for his injury, but he performed really well. Averaged over 99, so he did very little wrong. Steve Beaton just played superbly well. But Gary Anderson is in action in the Players' Championship this weekend. It's his first return to the Pro Tour circuit in 2019, so he seems to be on the mend.
Outside of the winner, Nathan Aspinall, and the big names there that we've mentioned, Josh, were there any other standout performances from the weekend that we want to highlight?
Yeah, there's quite a few, to be fair, John. I mean, I mentioned Ross Smith earlier on in my roundup. I mean, he got to the quarterfinals, his first ever televised quarterfinal loss to Nathan Aspinall, but beat James Wade in the last 16. So that's a real good scout for Ross. We saw Simon Stevenson. He beat Barney on the opening night, really high-quality game. Then defeated Kim Huybrechts, and then Dave Chisnell from 8-4 down to reach his first TV quarter-final. And also Josh Payne, former World Youth Champion, won 2 Pro Tour events over the last couple of years. He also got to the quarter-finals, lost to Rob Cross. So yeah, a number of outsiders showing their capabilities on the big stage.
Jordan, Dave Chisnell got to the quarters, Josh, you mentioned there?
Last 16.
Sorry, last 16. Chizzy is always one that seems to progress in these tournaments and get to the latter rounds. Never seems to quite manage to make it to a final these days. Is there hope for Chisnell? Chisnell's obviously been a former Premier League player. Do you think Chisnell could climb his way back up the rankings and place himself in more finals, Jordan?
He's definitely got a game to do it. He's won the Pro Tour events. He's won around the tour, but he's got a bit of the Spursy mentality.
Oi, we'll have none of that on this show. I can throw you off, you know. I'll get Neil back. I don't mind.
In my opinion, so he gets to the semi-finals and then or the quarter-finals, and there's always a performance that lets him down on the way to the title. So I think it's going to be tough for him because there's a lot of emerging stars now as well. And I think he'd have to play out of his skin to win one of these.
John, just remind me which football team you support?
No comment.
I think it's Fulham, isn't it? And where do they currently reside in the league table?
Yeah, Championship is a good league, and I'll enjoy it next year.
Okay, well that is your UK Open roundup, and your winner is Nathan Aspinall. You're listening to the Josh's Dartistry podcast. Don't forget you can check us out on Facebook, the Josh's Dartistry page. You can also follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry. And you can also go to our website, www.joshisdartistry.com, for all the latest news, blogs and information on the world of darts. Don't forget you can also call us and leave us a message on our voicemail box. That's 07739 738 329. That's 07739 738 329. Call our voicemail box, leave us a message, leave us a question, and we may play it on the show. Now back to the show. Okay, that's the UK Open out of the way. Josh, I suppose we should bring it back now to the Premier League. Had a few nights since we last recorded. Let's start with night 4, shall we? West Point Arena, Exeter.
Yep, the night before the UK Open took place, John, Luke Humphreys was the latest contender to enter the fray. He took on Gerwyn Price. Brilliant performance from Humphreys. 101 average, got a brilliant 161 checkout. Price missed double 12 for the 9-darter. Would have been the first Premier League 9-darter for 2 years. But yeah, they played out a 6-all draw. Both been averaging, well, Humphreys over a ton, Price close to a ton. So that was a brilliant, brilliant game, that one.
Luke managing to put the brakes on Gerwyn Price a little bit there. Gerwyn had been in such good form coming up to that match, and but managed to nick a draw.
Yeah, Gerwyn was a real comprehensive favourite to win that. But Luke's a great player, and Luke has said he produces his best form on the big stage. he beat Rob Cross at the World Championship en route to reaching the quarterfinals. So yeah, brilliant performance from Luke.
Darryl Gurney took a hammering, Josh.
Yeah, Gurney had beaten Durrant and Michael Smith over the last couple of weeks. He was quite fancied by some to beat Rob Cross, because Cross the week before had lost 7-1 to Michael Van Gogh, or 7-2 I believe. But Cross was really ruthless. Gurney just didn't get going, and yeah, 7-1 win for Voltage.
I think that was Jeffrey's pick, Gurney. So
He would, yeah, that's true.
Oh, what a way to go out in the final round, getting smashed 7-1. What a shame. Josh, talk to me about Mensur Suljovic versus Peter Wright.
Now, I mentioned at the UK Open, Mensur Suljovic beat Peter Wright in a great game, Wright averaging over 106, and they actually met 24 hours earlier in the Premier League, and Suljovic continued his amazing record against Peter Wright. I think he's won 8 out of his last 9 against Snakebite, which is incredible, really. Wright never got going. Suljovic was 6-1 ahead. Wright pulled it back to 6-4 with some good darts, but just left himself too much to do, and Suljovic ran out a 7-4 winner to claim his first win of the season. And then, now we mentioned on the last podcast, John, you tipped James Wade to beat Michael Van Gerwen.
I certainly did.
And he delivered for you, didn't he? I bow my hat to you, John. Superbly well done.
Challenge John soon.
I don't think many people would have backed it, but I just had a little feeling. I thought Wade was in good form, and I certainly didn't expect it to be 7-3. I did fancy Wade for the win, but I didn't think the margin of victory would be so big, Josh.
No, but Wade is not scared of Van Gogh, and he referred in his interview to saying some players are a little bit scared of Van Gogh and almost beat them before they go on stage. Wade isn't. Michael started well. He was scoring much heavier than Wade, but he missed a lot of darts at double. Should have been possibly 4-1 up, 5-1 up. Didn't capitalise, and Wade just grew in confidence, and won the last 5 legs from 3-2 down. So fair play to Wade. Brilliant win for him.
Yeah, and stood him in good stead for the next few weeks. Final match of the night, Josh. Michael Smith versus Raymond van Barneveld.
Yeah, now Michael Smith, on the Monday before his game against Barney, underwent emergency surgery on an abscess. So there was a bit of uncertainty about how he'd perform, whether he'd be fully fit. Barney started well, 3-1 up, and Smith wasn't performing particularly well, and we thought this could be a chance for Raymond. But then Smith suddenly found his best form, averaged 100 overall in the match, and averaged 105 for the last 7 legs. So really good performance from Michael Smith. 7-4 win, his first win of the season, which saw him leapfrog Raymond.
Okay, let's move on to night 5. I believe coming from Aberdeen, Josh.
Yep, and we kicked off, John, with Rob Cross taking on Michael Smith. Obviously, we looked at Cross beating Darryl Gurney 7-1 last week, and he continued his fine form, beating Smith 7-3 in a real high-quality contest. Over 100 average for Voltage once again. And then we saw James Wade thrash Darryl Gurney 7-0.
Poor old Gurney, that's a 2-week hammering, isn't it?
Yeah, 1 leg out of 15, and that was only the 10th whitewash in Premier League history, and the second time that Wade has inflicted a whitewash on an opponent. But Wade, it was probably the best I've ever seen him play in the Premier League. 110 average, 7 out of 9 on the doubles. Any sort of chance he had, he took, and Gurney only had 2 darts at double in the entire match, which just illustrates how dominant he was, really. So fair play to Wade. Obviously a nightmare a couple of weeks for Darryl Gurney, but sometimes in the Premier League you just walk into it.
We'll come on to Nottingham in a moment, obviously, but I think most people will know that Gurney picked up a draw in Nottingham. So 3 weeks in a row without a win for Gurney has sort of really placed him down there in a bit of trouble, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not ideal. I mean, it's obviously hampered his playoff hopes, but he was a little bit concerned probably about elimination at one stage. But that point against Peter Wright could be really important for him. He showed great character to come back, as I'll discuss later on. But yeah, big point for Gurney, and he might be able to kick on from there now.
Okay, let's continue with Aberdeen. Josh, talk to me about Mensur Suljovic versus Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, a bit of a strange one, this. I mean, Gerwyn Price has got a really good record over Mensur. Mensur did beat Price in last year's Premier League in Berlin, but Price usually has the better of the head-to-head. And it wasn't a brilliant match. I mean, Price averaged about 93, only at 2 140s. So it wasn't really a dominant scoring performance, but Suljovic was a little bit error-strewn on the doubles, and Price just took his chances when they materialised. So yeah, comfortable 7-3 win for Gerwyn, that.
Barney, Peter Wright.
Yeah, I thought this was a great chance for Barney to get a win here, because Peter Wright had not been playing particularly well, and then he goes in and produces an absolute worldie of a performance. I mean, he was averaging 112 for large periods. Barney, I think, in terms of the stats, it was his best performance of the season, averaged about 95.6. Didn't do too much wrong, but Wright was really, really good. 106 average in total, and a 7-3 win for Snakebite, his second win of the season.
Okay, and that moves us neatly on to what I think we'll all agree around the table was the absolute match of the night. MVG versus Big John Henderson.
Yeah, I think when obviously the contenders were announced and we saw Michael Van Gerwen playing John Henderson in Aberdeen, I think you'd have been forgiven for expecting a comprehensive Michael Van Gerwen victory, but it was an incredible game of darts. The walk-on for Henderson was unreal. Obviously, he started off with the bagpipes and the Flower of Scotland before rocking all over the world, started blaring out in the arena. But yeah, an amazing atmosphere, brilliant reception for Hendo. Van Gerwen started off like a train, was 5-2 up, averaging 116, and I thought there was no way back for Hendo, but he finished brilliantly, hit 6 180s. Michael just struggled a little bit, I think, later on in the game. He hadn't won for a couple of weeks, as we mentioned, at the UK Open and against James Wade, and Henderson fought back from 6-4 down to claim a point. Amazing game.
Jordan, what an atmosphere in Aberdeen. Did you catch the match?
Yeah, it was unreal. The crowd did go mental for him, and I think that is what the Contenders was all about, really. The atmosphere was incredible, and it's a night that John Henderson will never forget.
Yeah, also a night I think darts will never forget. The bagpipes, I thought at the start was an absolutely fantastic touch. I think Dan Dawson tweeted an hour or so before the match. He tweeted a little video of someone playing the bagpipes backstage, having a bit of a practice and a warm up. And I thought, hello, this could be a bit special if that's anything to do with Hendo's walk on. That's really going to be special. But Michael Van Gerwen dropping points again. All right, it was a Contenders match, and Hendo obviously had the home crowd behind him, but. Yeah, a draw after the loss to Wade. As we mentioned at the top of the show, not getting it is all his own way.
No, he'll be very disappointed. I mean, with 5-2 up, you'd expect him from that position to close out a win. But fair play to Mark. We performed really well. 116 average at one point. It came down to about 103, which probably reflects his loss of form towards the end of the match. But he showed great sportsmanship to Henderson. Obviously very disappointed himself, Michael, but he raised Henderson's hand at the end, gave him a long-standing ovation. And yeah, fair play, because obviously he must have been disappointed, but he still showed a great amount of character and sportsmanship.
What will Henderson take from that, Josh? Obviously, he's a name that's been in and around the game for quite a while now. Be really good to see Hendo, working his way up the order of merit and, hopefully establishing himself as a major winner one day.
I mean, yeah, I think he's 19th in the world now, so out of all the contenders, he's the highest ranked, believe it or not. And we saw him beat Mark at the World Grand Prix a couple of years ago. Got to the semi-finals there. He's a brilliant Pro Tour player. He's had a really good start to the circuit, start to the season in 2019. I mean, I didn't expect him to get a point against Michael Van Gerwen. I didn't think he'd be able to live with his scoring power, but he did. 6 180s. He's a brilliant double hitter, double tops. When he finds that tops, he's very tough to beat. So he'll take a lot of confidence from that. And as Jordan said, it'll be a night he'll never forget.
Okay, let's move on to night 6. That took place at the Motorpoint Arena in Robin Hood Country, Nottingham, Josh.
And it kicked off with Nathan Aspinall, hopefully a guest of the show this week, against Michael Smith. It's a bit of a strange one, because Aspinall's coming in as a contender, but as a major winner. And Michael Smith, for all his brilliant work over the last couple of months, or couple of years even, is not a major champion. But Aspinall unfortunately didn't perform to the way he can. He averaged 88. I think he referenced after the game he was bitterly disappointed with his performance, but I think he missed 10 darts at doubles in the first 3 legs, and that cost him really. Took out a brilliant 158, showed his class at some points, but Smith ran out a 7-2 winner.
Joe, it's funny you say that. Nathan Aspinall coming in as a major winner and Michael Smith not coming in as a major television winner. Incredible to think that Smith still hasn't won a televised title yet, Josh.
I mean, yeah, he won the Shanghai Masters, obviously, which is a World Series event on TV, but it wasn't live televised, if you like.
Yeah.
He's won a number of Pro Tour titles, Smith. He's got to 3 major finals last year. He got to the Premier League final, the World Series of Darts finals, and obviously the World Championship final. So I think it's only around the corner for Michael Smith. Also got to the UK Open semis, didn't he? So he's knocking on the door. I think it's only a matter of time for Smith. But yeah, it was a strange sort of concept with Aspinall being the contender, if you like. Obviously he's a major winner.
Jordan, Michael Smith, major winner in 2019 for you, or forever destined to be a bridesmaid this year?
No, I think Michael Smith has got it in him. He's been close. He's been the bridesmaid. I think now's his time. His form's turning around a little bit. He was struggling at the start. I don't know if he was struggling with his with the abscess.
Yeah, I think that was playing a big factor, yeah.
And he was down near the bottom, but over the last 3 weeks, you've seen his results pick up, and now he looks in contention for a playoff place, which is will be interesting.
Okay, Josh, let's move it on to the James Wade versus Mensur Suljovic match.
Yeah, bit of a surprise. This one, me and Jordan bit the dust in the last man standing competition.
Hey!
Obviously Wade beat Marco Van Gerwen 7-3 a couple of weeks ago, then whitewashed Darryl Gurney. Mensur hadn't had the best couple of weeks performance-wise, but he produced his best performance of the campaign to defeat Wade 7-3. I mean, Suljovic is one of the more methodical throwers in the Premier League, but he was noticeably slower in his approach to the oche, and I think Wade was getting visibly irritated by it, and I think Suljovic played the game very well. Wade didn't play poorly, averaged about 97, but Mensur was brilliant, 6 180s in 10 legs, which for Mensur is quite unusual. He's not renowned for being a prolific maximum hitter, so brilliant performance from Mensur, and he's now, again, as Jordan mentioned with Michael Smith, Mensur's now looking in contention for the playoffs.
He put in a performance a bit like James Wade would. He hit the maximums at the right time and he hit the doubles at the right time. It was a bit of he did a job on James Wade that James Wade normally does on other people.
Yeah, it was a bit of a role reversal, wasn't it? Let's move on to the next match. Josh, unfortunately, we can't avoid it. Rob Cross 7, Raymond van Barneveld 3.
Yeah, we mentioned obviously Rob Cross out of his third straight win now. He beat Gurney 7-1, Michael Smith 7-3. He was coming in great form. Raymond obviously was lacking in confidence, and Cross went into a 2-0 lead. Barney pulled it back with 2 good legs, then missed 2 darts, Barney, for a 3-2 lead, and that cost him. His head went down a little bit. Cross grew in confidence. He was averaging 112 at one point, Cross. I think he missed about 8 match darts, which gave Barney another leg, but he closed out the win. 101 average. Cross 3 wins on the bounce for him, and he's having a brilliant season.
Barney, unfortunately, still looking for his first win of the Premier League and finds himself absolute rock bottom. It's not a surprise because I think, coming into the tournament, Barney was out of form, and with the bookmakers, he was the favourite to finish bottom. He's not finished bottom yet. He could still pull it round. Not going to get involved in unsubstantiated gutter press reports either. But yeah, Barney really having a tough time at the moment, Josh.
Yes, I think the difficulty with the Premier League is, John, every week you're playing a top-class player. So if you're lacking in confidence, lacking in form, as Wayne Mardle mentioned in commentary, there's no game now that you think Barney should win on paper. I mean, obviously, playing Michael Smith with an injury, we thought that might be a chance. Smith averages 100. Then the next 2 weeks he plays the world number 2 and the world number 3. It doesn't really get any easier because next week he has Max Hopp in Germany.
No easy games in the Premier League.
Obviously, Max is a contender. Obviously, it would be his first Premier League appearance, but Max will be in front of 12,000 German fans going wild for him. So it's a difficult time for Raymond. He had a good result at the European Tour qualifiers last night, so that might boost his confidence. But he's not playing poorly, but in the big moments, he just hasn't got that confidence to produce his best form. And it's a bit of a slippery slope in the Premier League when you're lacking belief.
Okay, let's move it on then. Next match after that was Gerwyn Price taking on Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, I've got to say, this was probably the most disappointing game of the night for me, John. I mean, it was kind of tipped as the world number 1 against one of the most informed players in world darts.
Yeah.
But it didn't really live up to the hype. I mean, Price had lost all 13 of his games against van Gerwen prior to Nottingham, and it started off really poorly. Both men were averaging in the 70s after 4 legs, which is unheard of, really. And van Gerwen did pull it round well in the end. I think he won his last 4 legs in 13, 12, 12 and 14. I think in his first 4 legs he averaged 77, the last 5, 115. So it was a game of 2 halves, really, but Price never got going. 7-2 win for Michael and a return to winning ways for the Green Machine.
Yeah, Michael managed to pick up the win. I'm sure that'll boost his confidence after a couple of weeks of not managing to pull the big one out. Last match of the night, Josh, was Peter Wright versus Daryl Gurney.
Yeah, we mentioned this a little bit earlier, didn't we, John? Obviously, Daryl Gurney came into this match having only won 1 leg in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He was really lacking in confidence. Peter Wright had a great win against Barney last week, 106 average. Again, it started off a little bit poorly. Wright then suddenly found his form, 2-11 darters and a brilliant 90 finish on the bullseye. Led 6-3. We thought he was going to close in on his 3rd win of the season. But Gurney, fair play to him, showed real good character. Won the last 3 legs in 13, 14 and 14 darts. Survived the match dart from Peter Wright to get a very important point. And that puts him now 3 points above Raymond van Barneveld in 8th position. So Gurney now probably 1 win away, I'd say, from securing his safety for the next phase.
Just looking at the league table, Jordan, our top 4 at the moment are Michael van Gerwen, Rob Cross, James Wade and Peter Wright. Do you see that changing much between now and the next few weeks?
Yeah, I think it's quite close. I think there's only 2 points between 8th place and 4th place. So it's anyone's game, really. Unfortunately, it does look like Raymond's going out. But I think that Gerwyn Price might slip in there. And I think that Michael Smith has a chance as well. Who that's for, I don't know, because Wade's playing really well, and Wright is just digging out performances. He's a bit inconsistent in his performances, but he's getting results. So I think if I'd had to pick anyone, I'd pick Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, Josh, Peter Wright in 4th and Gerwyn Price in 5th. They're almost level pegging. I'm sure they'll swap round a few times. Just looking in their draw column, both of them have drawn 3 games. Really need to be looking to converting those draws into wins going forward, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Wright will be disappointed with his draw against Gurney. He should have really won that game from 6-3 up. But he did draw against Smith earlier on when he should have lost, really. And he should have lost to Cross in the opening week. So Wright has kind of nicked 2 points. Whereas with Price, he drew from 6-2 up against Barney, drew against Luke Humphrey when he should have really won that game. So Gerwyn will probably feel he's probably 2 points down, really. So he's got some ground to make up. Didn't play well against Michael van Gerwen, but that was his first defeat of the season, Gerwen. You can't really criticise him. He's got Rob Cross next week, so that's a big game. Cross has won 3 on the trot. He trails him by 2 points. They kick off the night in Berlin, so a chance to return to winning ways for the Iceman.
Yeah, I was going to mention Rob Cross. You hit the nail on the head there. He's won the last 3 weeks. Hasn't had a loss since 4 weeks ago now. So he's looking in form and looking like he could push Michael all the way this year.
Oh, absolutely. I think we mentioned a couple of podcasts ago, we thought 2019 would be a big year for Rob Cross, and all the signs suggest it will be. I mean, he's only had one poor performance, and that was unfortunate against Michael van Gerwen in week 3. Lost 7-2, never really performed. But we're 6 nights in now, and Cross has the highest tournament average.
I think you'd have to say he's been the most consistent, because Van Gerwen had a little drop off. I think Cross has been top quality apart from the Van Gerwen game, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I think in his other 5 games he's averaged over 100. And he's averaged over 100 for the year, and that's including Pro Tour events, UK Open, any qualifiers. So he's playing at a consistently top quality level. And I think it's only a matter of time before we see him either win another major title or even a Pro Tour title in the coming weeks.
Okay, Josh, night 7 will be coming to us next Thursday from the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Berlin. Give us a little preview, mate.
Yeah, we kick off the night with Gerwen Price against Rob Cross. Big game for the top 4 battles. We said Cross will be looking to extend his lead over Price in the table. Price a chance to bounce back. That should be a real high quality contest, that one. Then we see James Wade take on Peter Wright. Obviously, Wade and Wright both occupy top 4 spots at the moment. Wade looking to bounce back from his defeat against Mensur Suljovic. Wright looking to continue his unbeaten run of form at the moment. The next matchup will be Michael van Gerwen against Daryl Gurney. Obviously, we saw Michael return to winning ways last week. He'll be able to continue that against Daryl Gurney.
Daryl Gurney, when you're absolutely desperate for a win, Michael van Gerwen's not the opponent you want to see on the stage, is it?
He's not, no. I mean, that point against Peter Wright will give him a little bit of breathing space for this week. Who knows, that could be the turning point for Gurney. We've seen him beat Durrant and Smith with real high-quality performances. Gurney also beat Van Gerwen in the Players' Championship final, didn't he, in November to win his second major. So he can beat Michael. Will be a tough game, though. Then, the 4th match of the night sees Michael Smith against Mensur Suljovic. Now, Mensur, last year, he was almost a home player, really, obviously from Austria, playing in Berlin. He got a brilliant reception from the crowd. He'll be the fan favourite again in Berlin, but Michael Smith, he's performing better now. He's got 2 wins from his last 3 games. He's now looking up rather than down, and that could be a really important game. They're both kind of 6th and 7th at the moment, so both vying for a top 4 spot.
Mensur coming off the back of a really good win against James Wade. I think his tail will be up, though.
Yeah, I think, like I say, both have won 2 of their last 3 matches. They've had a bit of a shaky start, but they're now playing better darts. Their confidence is high. And like I say, they're now focusing more on trying to get a top 4 spot rather than worrying about maybe potential elimination.
The final match of the night, Josh. Listen, Raymond van Barneveld's a favourite. No matter what country he's in, what arena he's playing in, he always gets a really good reception. However, he will be playing contender Max Hopp in his home country. And again, you know, when you're looking to pick up points and you stare across the stage at your opponent, you know, the last thing you want is the hometown hero.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Raymond. I mean, he's been the fans' favourite all 6 nights. The crowd have really tried to rally him and support him and get behind him, and they got him over the line against Gerwen Price and Mensur Suljovic. He will not have that against Max Hopp. I think they'll be respectful for Barney for what he's done in the game, and he got a good reception last year in Berlin. But yeah, Max Hopp's going to have an amazing reception. 12,000 people in Berlin, broke the world record for the attendance last year in the Premier League. It's going to be some atmosphere. It's going to be a nightmare game for Barney, really, because when you're lacking in confidence, when you're needing a win, the last thing you want to see is a player who has all the support and the crowd on your back. So it's going to be tough for Raymond, but it's a chance for him. He's going to be looking at that game. Max Hopp is a contender. He's not experienced in the Premier League. If he's going to get a win, this is one of his best chances, you'd say.
Jordan, just looking ahead to night 7 in Berlin, looking at the fixtures there, which match stands out for you as the highlight? What are you looking forward to next week, mate?
There's 3 really even matchups, I think. I think Wade and Wright might go under the radar, but that looks quite interesting to me. And Price and Cross are probably the 2 informed players outside Van Gerwen this calendar year. So I think that's probably the highlight. And then obviously Hopp and Van Barneveld. I think I'll go into it later in the odds section, but they're quite evenly matched in the odds. So be interesting to see if Barney can actually overcome Max Hopp.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a contender win yet. We've had 6 games so far. There have been 3 draws and 3 defeats. They've acquitted themselves really well, but Max Hopp will be fancying his chances, unfortunately for Raymond. I mean, he's not in the best of form. Hopp's been playing quite well on the Pro Tour when he has turned up this year. And we've seen over the last couple of years when there have been major events in Germany, the crowd have got on Hopp's opponents' back. I mean, Wade got whistled throughout his game at the European Championship against him. I don't like to see that, really, but And with Raymond lacking in confidence, that could affect him if it happens. So it'll be interesting to see. But obviously a massive game. It's a must-win for Barney. If he's got any hopes of surviving elimination, he has to beat Max Hopp.
I think there's a gap now between Barney and the rest, so both players have nothing to lose, so it should be a good game.
He should be, yeah.
You mentioned Max Hopp there, Josh. I had a bit of a rant on our WhatsApp thread the other day, didn't I? I was having a bit of a meltdown about the contender scenario and how it's gone. When they came out of it, if you go back and listen to the podcast when they announced what was going to happen, I did say that I wasn't really a fan of it, and there was a lot of chat about level playing fields and it all being a bit strange. But I thought we'll give it a go. And then I did mention on our WhatsApp group the other day that we're yet to see a contender win. That's not perhaps unpredictable because we're looking at players that have possibly not played on that stage before and being a bit nervous, and it is difficult to get a win against these experienced and seasoned players. Let's have a little thoughts, gentlemen, on how we think the contendership has gone. Josh, what are your thoughts on it?
I have to say, John, I have to disagree with you, I'm afraid. I think it's been a roaring success so far. I mean, we've seen Chris Dobie, John Henderson.
Roaring success. That's.
I think it has.
About that.
It's a bold claim.
You look at the points, okay, they haven't won a game yet, but I think they've been competitive. All the games, I mean, Darren lost 7-3 to Gurney, but averaged 100. Steve Lennon almost got a point against Peter Wright, lost 7-5.
Winning a game of darts is not about who's got the highest average, Josh. It takes more than that to win a game of darts, especially in the Premier League.
I understand that, but I mean, obviously Nathan Aspinall, he's a major PDC champion. He's probably the only one who's really not performed with potential so far out there contenders. I mean, Henderson's moment against Van Gogh, and that was the moment of the Premier League so far. The atmosphere, the reception he got, the comeback to win, the crowd reaction, it was incredible. We saw Chris Dobie. I think his draw against Ilic was the highlight of the night. I think it's given the Premier League a different dimension.
It's a shame, though, that when we talk about the highlights of the contenders' matches, we're talking about crowd participation and not the actual darts. That's what worries me.
I think that's a little unfair, though. I mean, Chris Dobie played really well against Ilic. Henderson played really well against Marco van Gogh, and Humphreys averaged over a ton against Gogh and Price. I think they've played really, really well. I don't think they've played poorly by any means.
I think it depends how you look at it, because if you're Sky Sports and you're seeing them atmospheres and you're seeing the crowd go mental, it is great. It's great for them, and it's so they will be loving that. But if you look at solely the darts, then maybe it's not the best standard, but it is an exhibition tournament after all. So they're highlighting the best parts of darts, and I think the atmosphere is a big part of that.
I agree, and I think if you look at, obviously, Simon Whitlock was a player that a lot of people have touted as a ideal replacement for Gary Anderson. Now, Simon's obviously a quality player, Premier League stalwart, if you like, but he's had a really poor start to the year. He's had a few injury problems with his hand, I believe, but he's been averaging in the 70s in some games, low 80s, so there's no guarantee if you'd have put in a Whitlock, he'd be doing any better. And I think it has given the contenders element a new dimension. It's one of the games I'm always looking forward to. Every single week, I'm looking forward to seeing how the contenders fare. And okay, Aspinall didn't have the best of games against Michael Smith, but he's a major PDC champion. And I think he was one of the most deserving players of his spot. So we've got 3 more weeks, though. Hopp in Berlin, Van den Burg in Rotterdam, and De Zwaan in Rotterdam. 3 quality young players who could all possibly grab a win.
Okay, you both make very good, compelling arguments for the case for the contenders, so I'll give you that, guys. And listen, I'm prepared to see how we go for the rest of the tournament and give them their chance despite my misgivings. I would like to open it up to you guys. I'd like to have a little 50p bet with both of you. I'm going to offer you the chance to win 50p. I'm going to say not a single contender is going to win a Premier League game this season. Who would like to take my 50p bet? Jordan, were you interested in that?
Yeah, go on then.
So you think that a contender will win a match?
I think it might be this week.
Josh, you look pained on your face when I offered you that bet. What are you thinking?
I think it could happen. I honestly think the best chances are possibly Hopp against Barney and Van den Burg against Wade. I know Wade's been playing well, but Van den Burg is such a good player on the big stage. He loves the atmosphere. He thrives in the big arenas. I think they're both players who could raise their game and produce 10+ averages to win, but you never know.
Did you notice how Josh, being the politician, didn't actually answer my question whether he was going to take my 50p bet or not?
I can't make my mind up about Hopp Barney. It's just one of those games. Obviously, I'd love to see Raymond win.
How can you not back your man? That's incredible. This is like when we ask you how you think Arsenal are going to get on. You never back your team. No. Come on, back your man.
I think he's got a good chance of winning, but I think it's a tough one because, like I say, Hopp's in front of his home crowd. Right,
I'm offering my hand to Jordan. Jordan has shaken my hand. I'm now offering my hand to Josh. 50p's there if you want it.
No.
He's turned me down. He won't shake my hand on that bet. Okay.
I'm not backing against Raymond for the offer of 50p.
Okay, but that is your Premier League roundup. Obviously, looking forward to next Thursday as we go to Berlin, and I'm sure we'll give you an update on that when we come to our next episode.
This is Jamie Caven, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
I wanna be the last man standing, but there can only be one.
Right then, chaps, last man standing. Before we discuss the competition, Josh, new jingle. What do you reckon?
I'm a big fan, John. Great work.
Thanks to Colin for coming up with our new last man standing jingle. I quite like the Skittles being bowled over at the end of the jingle there.
Yeah, I was one of them this week.
You were one of them. So we've got plenty of experience here because we've got one last man standing competition winner, who we can have a chat with. Jordan can let us know how it's done. How many people we got left in for Berlin, Josh?
We've got exactly 40 people. We had 73 entries. 14 went out in the opening night. We had 19 perish this Thursday. I think 14 or 15 have gone for James Wade, including myself. So we've got 40 people left. So yeah, get your predictions in for Berlin, guys.
Just to refresh your memory, the JDP Last Man Standing competition involves everybody picking a player that they think is going to win. You can't pick the contenders match for obvious reasons because it wouldn't be a level playing field. And if your player wins, then that means you are still in the competition and you can pick a player for the following week to win, but you may not pick a person that you've already picked from previous weeks. Yes, excellent stuff. When you get your entries in, use the hashtag JDPLMS. That's for Josh's Dartistry Podcast Last Man Standing, and it just helps us to find all the results, doesn't it, Josh, and single them all out so you can keep a track, and you do keep a track of them as we go through, don't you, Josh?
Yep, indeed. I've got a document with compiling all the predictions, all the people. So
wow, it must be official. We've got a document. Wow.
Yep. If anyone tries to pull a fast one, I had one person enter this week having not entered the previous week.
Oh, really? Sly.
Well, yeah, he got deleted.
Pinned off.
So I'm keeping a list of who's in, who's picked who. So yep, no funny tricks, people.
We also had a person who forgot to get their entry in time. And we said at the start of the competition the default rule is you get given a default player alphabetically, so the next player on from who you picked the previous week had they been successful and you were still in. And I think they picked...
They picked Price in the first week.
Yeah.
So it should have been Smith, but because he was playing the contenders match, he wasn't eligible.
Yeah, so it automatically went to Sulovic, who won. So whoever that was, you managed to make it through.
Very lucky.
Exactly. So please remember to get your entries in. Josh is really good on Twitter. He does try and tweet you all using your official handles to remind you to get your vote in. So please try and help us out and get your votes in good time. Deadline is 7 p.m. on a Thursday, Josh, yeah?
Indeed, yep. And the games we've got to choose from this week are we've got obviously Price against Cross, Wright against Wade, Van Gerwen, Gurney, and Smith-Silovic. Some really tough games to choose from there.
Jordan, just looking at the fixtures, you're not in, are you? Actually, hang on a second. You've already been knocked out, haven't you?
Yeah.
Josh, you've been knocked out.
Yeah.
Neil?
He was knocked out first week.
Neil's knocked out first week. So with all the JDP hosts, once again, the cream rises to the top. I'm still in.
Yeah, you've done well this time. You were knocked out second week last time, weren't you, John? Because you backed Price to beat Barney and he didn't. So no, well done to you.
All right, okay. So maybe I'll give my pick now. Shall we? Should we do that live?
Yeah, why not?
Right, let me just have a little look at the fixtures then. Price v Cross. I think that's going to be tight. So I think I'm gonna steer away from that. Who did I go for last week? I had...
you went for Rob Cross.
Went for Rob Cross. So, no, I'm not going to go with that. Wade v Wright. Unpredictable.
Back your man, John.
Listen, I love James Wade. You know I do. And I think the fact that I called him to beat Van Gerwen speaks volumes. However, again, I'm a little bit frightened about that one. Smith, Mensah, some of these are so unpredictable.
It's a tough one. What I did last time was I didn't go for the man in form. I went against the man out of form. But these ones, because the only man out of form at the moment is the one who's playing the contender, so it's a tough week.
Well, and Gurney, really. I know you got a point.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I'm in a toss-up, right? I can't decide between James Wade or Michael Van Gerwen.
Do you want my opinion?
Go on. I won't take it, but go on.
Van Gerwen.
Yeah, I'd go Van Gerwen too.
He's playing Gurney. I like to keep Van Gerwen in my pocket for as long as possible as a sort of banker. Do you know what I mean?
You can't be in your pocket if you're out.
Yeah, I know. That's very true. Right, that's it. Officially, I am going to declare my pick for Berlin is going to be Michael Van Gerwen. All right, the Green Machine. Van Gerwen will probably get a draw now, so fantastic. But yeah, that's going to be my pick. If you are still in the competition, please get your picks into Josh on Twitter using the hashtag JDPLMS as soon as possible. Don't forget, once we've got a winner, we do reset the competition, and everybody can enter from the first round. Going to have a bit of a dilemma, aren't we, when it comes to Rotterdam, Josh? Because we've got a night on the Wednesday and a night on the Thursday.
Have to work fast.
Yeah, a lot of it is going to depend how far we are into this competition, or if we've started a new. I don't think we'll have started a new competition.
No, I'd be amazed if all 40 people went out this week.
Yeah. So what you'll have to do is, for those who manage to progress from Berlin and you're still in the competition, get your pick in for the Wednesday night in Rotterdam as quick as possible. After the action is over on Wednesday, Josh will be out in Rotterdam. But Josh, if you can do a quick calculation, work out who's still in, send out messages to those who are still in for the Thursday night, and then you can get your picks in for the Thursday night. Once again, there is a default rule, so if you don't manage to get your pick in time, you will default to the next player alphabetically that you are eligible to pick. I hope that all makes sense. That's Josh's last man standing. Been a good crack and a bit of fun so far, Josh. I think the last man standing comp.
No, it's been really good, John. Really well received as well. I think we had 78 entries for the first night. I think 75 in the relaunch. So yeah, really good numbers, and people were enjoying it and doing quite well. So yeah, keep it going.
And Jordan, I will be having a word with Neil, asking him what he's playing at and why he hasn't got your mug to you yet. Okay.
He's fleeing to Dubai now.
Yeah, there's something wrong in the warehouse there.
Okay, that's last man standing. Get involved, folks. Bit of fun, and yeah, we'll see what happens in Berlin.
You're listening to Josh's Dartistry. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook by going to the Josh's Dartistry page. You can follow us on Twitter @Josh's Dartistry, or go to the website www.joshisdartistry.com for the latest news and insight to the world of darts. You can also leave us a comment or a question via our voicemail box. Just call 07739 738 329. Leave us a message and we may play it on air. Now back to the show.
Hi, it's Adrian Lewis, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry podcast.
Okay, time to look ahead at some possible bets for you all. In What Are the Odds?
Sure, what are the odds?
Okay, let's hand you over to this episode's resident odds checker. It's not Neil Connor, it's Mr. Jordan Harrison.
Thanks, John. As always, the odds are brought to you by Sporting Bet, and we'll go straight into the Premier League, and we'll start with the first game of the night, and it is Gerwin Price versus Rob Cross. Interestingly, Gerwin is an outsider at 11 to 10, so there's some decent money on that if you wanted to go to it, and Rob Cross is 18 to 25 on, so
big favourite.
Yeah,
reflects his current form though.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
true. And then going on to the next game of the night, it's James Wade versus Peter Wright. I think there's some very good odds here. James Wade is at evens to win this game, so Peter Wright's been a bit up and down in form, but he is the favourite at 39 to 50 on.
I'm surprised by that, Josh.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I mean, he's played okay last 2 weeks, but Wade, apart from the game against Sidovic, he's been playing some of the best darts for the last few years, yeah.
And then moving on to the third game of the night, Michael Van Gerwen versus Daryl Gurney, and not surprisingly, Michael Van Gerwen is the overwhelming favourite at 1 to 10 on.
Wow, 1 to 10.
Is Gurney going to get smashed again?
I don't think he will.
Gurney is at 21 to 4, so there's some good money in that if you back it, but it's going to be tough for him.
Yeah, it's tough to see him winning, but I don't think it'll be a rout for Van Gerwen.
What are the odds on a draw? Have you got that to hand in that match, Van Gerwen v Gurney? I don't see Gurney winning it, but could he potentially nick a point, Jordan?
The draw is 5 to 1, so some decent odds on that as well.
Yeah, they drew one game last year they played, so
could be worth a couple of quid.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Jordan, take us on to the next match of the night, Michael Smith versus Mensur Suljovic.
So Michael Smith coming back to form, and that's reflected in the odds. He is favourite at 67 to 100 on. Mensur, who did play well last week, is 23 to 20 outsider.
Two guys there who really could do with picking up a win next week, Josh.
Yeah, like I say, they've both won 2 out of the last 3, both now trying to push towards the playoffs. Tough one to call that, but I think I'd just give Smith the edge as the odds reflect.
Okay, Jordan, potential match of the night, Max Hopp versus Raymond van Barneveld. This one could already cost me 50p, so let's see how I can make some money back on it.
This is surprising, I think. Hopp is the favourite.
Wow. What is that all about, Josh? An untested, untried newcomer to the Premier League stage against a seasoned pro like Raymond van Barneveld, and Hop's the favourite.
Yeah, it's a tough one, really, John. I'm not shocked. It's a tough one to call. Hop, he's untested in the Premier League, but he's won a European Tour title. He's won Pro Tour titles.
I don't think we've seen a contender yet going into a contenders match as a favourite.
No, we haven't. But I suppose if you look at the order of merit, Hop is now, I think, above Raymond on the order of merit. So it's not as much of a shock, but never write Raymond off.
Funnily enough, just as you're saying that, Oki Balboa's just tweeted in. It's just come up on the screen. It said, "Please do some more baiting about Josh and his love for Barney." That tweet couldn't have come through soon enough from
Thank
Oki.
you, Oki. How the baggies doing?
Okay, so that's your fixtures. Jordan, let's move on to looking at outrights for the Premier League.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, the overwhelming favourite is Michael van Gerwen at 1-2 on. Second is Rob Cross at 6-1. Third is Peter Wright and Michael Smith at 12-1. It's a bit surprising, I think.
Particularly with Smith, I would say, in his current circumstance.
Yeah, but I suppose he got to the final last year, finished second. I think the bookies are expecting him to kind of pick up now after his injury woes. So yeah, I'm not too surprised, but I think Wade's got a great chance, making the playoffs.
Yeah, Wade and Gerwin Price are slightly outside at 14-1. I think they're good odds to back an outsider.
Yeah, if they both make the playoffs, they're going to be shorter than 14-1. So I think if you fancy them, get on it now.
Jordan, do I need to ask you odds for who's favourite to be cut adrift, or is it a foregone conclusion?
Yeah, Barney is odds-on favourite to go down, but if you wanted a flutter at him winning the whole tournament, it is 300-1.
Well, there you go, Josh. We could be
a quid on that.
Overnight millionaires.
I might see a quid on that. Come on, Barney.
Jordan, we haven't seen one yet in the Premier League this year. 9-darter. Got any odds for the potential of a 9-darter before the competition is over?
Yeah, I think it was odds on that there would be a 9-darter, but the odds have fallen a little bit, and it is 51-50. So you get your money back a little bit more if you put money on.
When did we last see a 9-darter in the Premier League, Josh?
It was Adrian Lewis in 2017 against Barney, but we saw Price miss a double 12 for the 9-darter. We've seen so many 9-darters on the Pro Tour circuit, so surely it's only a matter of time.
Okay, well, that is your Premier League odds. As we touched on earlier, we've got some European Tour events coming up, haven't we, Jordan? We've got the European Darts Open and the German Darts Championship taking place. Josh, I don't think we've got all the qualifiers in place yet for those tournaments, have we?
We've got the majority, obviously. We've got all the seeded players and the qualifiers from the UK and the European, but we've still got the host nation qualifiers to come. So, yeah, that'll be completed the day before the tournament begins. So, yeah, a few spaces to be filled.
So, Jordan, what have you got for us European Tour-wise?
So the European Tour in Leverkusen starts this
Friday, yeah.
This Friday, yeah. And obviously Michael van Gerwen is favourite again. Second favourite is Peter Wright at 8-1. Above Rob Cross at 9-1, which I do find surprising there.
Maybe based on the seedings. I'm not exactly sure of who seeded where, but Wright has had success on the European Tour over the last few years. But yeah, I think it's hard to back Wright over Cross on current form.
But 8-1 for a second favourite, that's a valuable bet. So, decent bit of cash there if it comes in.
Yeah, and Peter Wright, like I say, won 5 European Tour titles in 2017. So he's got the pedigree, so yeah, I think why not?
What else you got for us, Jordan?
Michael Smith is next at 12-1, with James Wade and Gerwin Price at 16-1 and 20-1 respectively. So there's some good money on them too. They're men in form. Yeah, if you fancy a flutter, I would go for Wade.
Any outsider names, Josh, you can think of off the top of your head for the European Darts Open? Anyone you fancy to maybe make a claim?
Well, we've got a couple. In terms of the qualifiers, Glenn Durrant is making his European Tour debut. He qualified. Barney made it for the European qualifiers, so maybe 2 established names there who will be in the first round.
Have you got any odds for Durrant there, Jordan?
Yeah, Durrant is 33-1.
Not bad at all.
Decent value. He won a Pro Tour title last month.
Yeah, he is above Gurney, and Chizzy, who we mentioned earlier in the show, is 50-1. So there's some decent odds there if you think Chizzy can get the job done. Barney is further out at 66-1.
Not bad.
German Darts Championship. Anything on that, Jordan?
It's pretty similar, apart from the obvious admission, who isn't in this one that was in the European, Josh?
We haven't got Roman Van Barneveld or Glenn Durrant. They didn't qualify for this one. All the major names are still in, all the seeded players, so there won't be much difference, I don't think, in the odds. Van den Berg, he qualified for both events, I believe, so he should be decent odds, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he is 50 to 1, and the man on the show today, Nathan Aspinall, is 40 to 1. Top 4, top 5 are pretty much the same odds. Van Gerwen, then Wright, then Cross, then Smith. Gerwin price and this one has gone out to 25 to 1, so
that's interesting.
Dancing Dimitri Van den Berg, Josh, 50 to 1. I like that.
Yeah, he reached a Pro Tour final last month, John. A very good stage player, making his Premier League debut in Rotterdam in a couple of weeks' time. Why not? Van den Berg, I think his time's coming.
Excellent. Jordan, any other odds for us?
No, that's it for this week, John.
Excellent stuff. So if you do fancy a bet, hopefully Jordan's given you some ideas there to get down your local bookmakers and stick a couple of quid on. Don't forget, we always ask you here on the JDP to please gamble responsibly. And of course, as ever, when the fun stops, stop.
Sure, what are the odds?
Okay, Josh, as you mentioned right at the top of the show, you managed to secure an interview with, Dart's rising star, and he's probably had requests for interviews left, right and centre after his win at the UK Open. He did pretty well to get an interview out of him. You managed to interview Nathan Aspinall.
Yeah, you've been asking me for a while, John, try and get a Premier League player on the show, and I managed to do it this week. I managed to do it. Obviously, man of the moment at the moment, Aspinall won the UK Open, had a great run at the Worlds, as we mentioned, competed in Nottingham in the Premier League, so yeah, he's in demand. He's a rising star of the game, and hopefully the future's very bright for him. So yeah, really, really pleased and grateful for Nathan for giving up his time in a very busy period for him.
Okay, let's have a listen.
So guys, I'm delighted to be joined here by newly crowned UK Open champion Nathan Aspinall. Nathan, it's been a crazy few weeks for you, but just try and sum up your emotions after your UK Open success.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I've still not really had time for it to sink in. It's been, like I said, it's crazy 2 months. Obviously after the World. Yeah, it's not sunk in yet, and we've got to continue playing as I'm doing, and hopefully this will be the first of many more to come.
I mean, how grueling and tough was it physically, that UK Open? I mean, to play 3 big games, best of 19 and best of 21 games over one day, it must have been really tough.
It was probably the hardest, longest day in my darts career to date. It was so hard. I've never played that many games in a day, let alone at that long format. It was tough, and I think the final showed that we were both really tired and worn out. But I just dug deep and battled on, as I always do. And I just kept saying to myself, got a good opportunity here, and I just feel like I had that little bit more than Rob in the final.
I mean, to win it with a 170 checkout, obviously only Colin Lloyd and Ted Tankey have ever won TV tournaments with a 170 checkout. That must have been an amazing feeling.
It was, because, I wasn't really too pleased with my performance in the final. But, I've got to put that down to tiredness and fatigue and that. But, when that 170 went in, I think everyone could see it on my face. I couldn't actually believe, firstly, that I'd won, and secondly, that I'd just pinged a 170 out, because I'd never hit one before that weekend on telly, and I did 2 in the same day. So, no, it's nice to win it in that style, and that'll always go down in the history books now that, I've won a major of 170.
When we all know how good you are, we saw at the World Championship your run to the semi-finals, but did you feel like the pressure was off a little bit when you got to the semis? Because you were the only non-Premier League player, if you like. Obviously there was Rob, Michael Smith and Gerwin Price as well.
I don't know about the pressure was off, but it was... I went into that tournament, even though we had a good run at the World, I was still going into that tournament ranked outside the top 32. So, I had nothing to lose. Once I got past the 5th round, I had nothing to lose. So, I just go up there, and I found this new thing now where I just go up there and enjoy myself. I don't put any pressure on myself. If I win, great. If I lose, then it's a tournament next week. And I've kind of, since I've took that attitude towards it, I seem to have lost my nerves. I used to be really nervous when I was on the hockey. Don't seem to have many nerves anymore. And I could go there and, I just play my game. And once I got to the semi-final stage, okay, they had more experience than me on there, but I believe that I wanted it more than them three. That might be wrong for me to say, but I just felt like it would have meant more to me than the other three to win this, because I wanted it so much. And again, I think that's why I beat Rob in the final, because I just wanted it that little bit more.
I mean, we saw on social media the following day you had your homecoming at your local pub. Just how special was that?
Oh, it was lovely, because I was on the way back on Monday, and Kirsty, my partner, was like, right, you need to come to the pub when you get back for an hour. Your dad's there. And I'm like, listen, I'm really tired. I've had a 7-hour long drive back from Minehead. Didn't have much sleep last night. I'll speak to him tomorrow. And she was begging me. And I said, right, we'll go for half an hour. And I walked in, and there must have been over 100 people in there. And it was nice to see, there was friends from school that I've not seen for 8-9 years. We speak over Facebook and stuff, but I've not seen them for years. And just to see, familiar faces after, a brilliant weekend, it kind of finished off, really. It was lovely.
No, it's brilliant stuff. But in 2017, Nathan, you didn't hold a PDC tour card, and now after you're in the world's top 16, are you even surprised by just how quickly you've risen up the ranks, if you like?
Yeah, to be honest with you, yeah, I am. That was the best thing that ever happened to me, losing my card. I took it for granted when I first won it. I kind of thought that, I've made it now, I've got a tour card, and that was not the case. The hard work starts once you win the tour card. So when I lost it, I got the hunger back for it. I didn't want to be on the Challenge Tour. I believed I was a better player than the Challenge Tour, and that's no disrespect to that tour at all, because it's brilliant. But I just felt I deserved to be on the Pro Tour. That's where I belonged. But did I expect to be number 16 after 14 months winning the card? Not at all. But I am, so happy days.
I mean, obviously, everyone remembers your run to the World Championship semi-finals over Christmas, but you won your first Pro Tour title in September. Do you think that was a catalyst for your rise, if you like?
Yeah, that's what I put it down to be quite honest with you. I always believed I was good enough to win tournaments. My problem in my game was I wasn't consistent enough throughout the day. But once I won that tournament, my mindset has completely changed, and I believe that I was now good enough to win any event that I play in. Obviously, I've still got to play well, but I've done it, so why can't I do it again? That was the mentality that I took from that.
And just looking ahead now to tomorrow, Nathan, obviously you're going to be the latest contender to make your Premier League debut in Nottingham. Just how much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's when I got the call, I couldn't believe it, to be quite honest with you. But all of us have got to grab the opportunity with both hands and show the rest of the public, the fans, the PDC, all the people involved with darts that it was the right decision to put us in. And so far it's been amazing. The contenders have played brilliant, all of them. I can't believe I got to follow John Henderson's walk on back last week. That was amazing. But if you've got to go up there, enjoy it. Great opportunity. And hopefully it's a taste for next year or the year after. Hopefully I won't be a contender in the coming years.
I mean, you mentioned that. I mean, obviously this will give you a taste, but having won the UK Open, you must be quite confident that you could be a permanent fixture in 2020 Premier League.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying this to me, and I would love to play in the Premier League as a full-time participant. It's a Premier League, it's a pinnacle of the sport. But for me, it's about getting up the rankings, and if I keep playing like I'm doing and winning tournaments, then into that top 10, then I'd be very hard to be overlooked. If I get a call for next year, then absolutely brilliant. I'd love it. But for me now, it's to enjoy Thursday night, take as much experience from it as I can, and just keep performing on the Pro Tours and keep going.
And you're on course now, Nathan, to make your World Match Play debut in July. Just how special would that be?
That's the closest event that I have to where I live, and it's one that I've always wanted to play in. All the players love it. They always go, it's one of the best venues to play in. That's the place where a lot of my friends and family can come and watch me, and that stage has held some of the best dart games ever, and to walk on that stage like the world, it would be a special moment for me and the family, and I can't wait for that in July.
That's brilliant. And finally, Nathan, have you set yourself any targets for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, it's basically continue as I'm doing. I want to try and pick up another Pro Tour title throughout the year, just to keep performing on TV. And big push is, by after the World Championship this year, I'd like to be in that top 10. Because that's when the year after I've got to defend all my money. So I'd like to get myself in the top 10 by the end of the year. That's my big target.
Best of luck with that, Nathan, and many thanks for joining us, and good luck for your Premier League debut tomorrow, mate.
No problem. Cheers for having me.
Well, there you go, folks. Exclusive interview with UK Open winner and Premier League contender Nathan Aspinall. Josh, I thought it was an absolutely cracking interview, mate. Well done. Well done on securing that. What I found most interesting was his ambitions for the next year, looking to pick up another Pro Tour win and seeing himself as hopefully as a Premier League player in maybe 2020.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously it's important for him not to rest on his laurels now. He's made it as a PDC major champion, but he's hungry for more success.
It's all about momentum, isn't it? And using that win to sort of, catapult himself even further.
Exactly. Like you said, he's definitely got to be a contender now for the 2020 Premier League. He's a major champion. The UK Open is one of the hardest events to win because it's such a grueling format, 160 players. And as you mentioned there, he wants to look forward towards getting to the top 10 now. He's 15th in the world. He hasn't got a lot of money to defend in the coming month, and obviously he has got a lot of money to defend in 2020. So yeah, it's a realistic target for him, and I think he's got a very good chance of doing so.
Jordan, he comes across as a lovely guy, doesn't he? And you can't help but be enthused and happy for him with his recent successes.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He seems really down to earth, don't take himself too seriously, and he sounds like he enjoys a beer. I heard him talk about his walk-on song, and he said he thought about what song gets him up and dancing at the end of the night, and that's his song. And you can just tell that he just really enjoys his darts and enjoys himself on the stage.
For the benefit of the uninformed Jordan, what is his walk-on song?
Mr. Brightside.
Mr. Brightside. By Josh?
By the Killers.
By the Killers. Blimey, some musical knowledge around this table. That makes a change.
I like that song. It's a big favourite of mine, that.
Yeah, it is a great tune. We'll play that in my band, actually. You can follow us on Twitter @RoundaboutZoo. We're available for weddings, birthdays and bar mitzvahs.
You did that deliberately, didn't you?
I did do that deliberately, yeah. Yeah, so Nathan, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your time. I know you're a busy boy at the moment, so we take our hat off to you for that. Thanks for that. And you're always welcome on the JDP.
You're listening to Josh's Dartistry. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook by going to the Josh's Dartistry page. You can follow us on Twitter @Josh's Dartistry, or go to the website www.joshsdartistry.com for all the latest news and insight into the world of darts. You can also leave us a comment or a question via our voicemail box. Just call 07739 738 329 and leave us a message, and we may play it live on air. Now back to the show.
Hi, this is Rob Studd from Sky Sports, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry podcast.
Right then, dance fans, it's time for Challenge Josh. Right then, Josh, here we go. So no Neil this week. So I've been charged with the task of setting the questions for Challenge Josh. Jordan, you're going to act as scorekeeper, which I think you did in the last episode of Challenge Josh. How many did he get in the last episode of Challenge Josh?
9. A disappointing 9.
A disappointing 9. That was your lowest score ever in chat. The first time ever you've recorded a single figure.
Yeah, I'm hoping to bounce back, but, my confidence is a little bit hurting now.
I hear your colleagues at Sky Sports, this is one of their favourite parts of the show, Josh.
Yeah, I've heard mentions of it. Raz was ribbing me for getting a few questions wrong last time, so I'm hoping to redeem myself.
Okay, you've had a little bit of time to think. Are there any topics you think that we might be covering in this episode?
I'm really not sure, to be honest, John. I'll have to take it by here, I think.
Okay, I am I'm in charge of the questions, but I'm also in charge of the sound box as well for the sound effects. So bear with me. It's quite hard to ask the questions and operate that at the same time. So if there's any balls ups, I make an apology now. Okay, Josh. Subject matter. We have touched on it a few times already this morning in the show. I'm going to be asking you 15 questions, as we always do on Challenge Josh, and they are going to be on the subject of the European tour. Okay, for the listeners at home, he pulled the biggest grimace I think I've ever seen on Challenge Josh. Not confident on the European tour, Josh, no?
I love the European tour, but no, that's a tough subject, John. I've got to say.
Why is it a tough subject? It's darts. You watch a lot. You watch it. You cover it.
Yeah, but if they're not going to be who won last year's European, I can just imagine. Let's get on with it.
That's a good idea. Let's get on with it. Okay, so here we go. Let me just get the questions up because my phone's decided to turn itself off. Right, here we go. Okay, let's go. Pen at the ready, gentlemen. Yes. Here we go with question number 1. Question 1. The European Tour's inaugural year featured 5 events. In what year was this?
Oh, he stumped on the first one.
That's worrying as well, because I thought I'd started with an easy one there. As Neil does, we like to break you in gently. I thought that was an easy one.
2012.
That is correct. Well done. Took you a while to get to that, Josh. Explain your thought process there.
You're going to mock me now.
No, go on.
Barney won a European tour
knew it.
in 2012. I was just trying to remember if there were any other events previous to that. So I knew it started. I didn't know if it was 2011 or earlier, but no, I went with my hunch. So
good start. See, not so bad.
Yeah,
good luck.
Bit fortunate, I was there.
Okay, Jordan, we're 1 out of 1, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, let's have a look at question number 2. Okay, question 2. Total prize money for individual European tour events is £140,000. It's a lot of money, Josh, for a European tour event. It's not bad at all, is it?
Very good money, yeah. No, it's improved a lot over the last couple of years.
Total prize fund. So total prize fund for an individual European tour is £140,000. How much of that goes to the winner of an event?
£25,000.
Now that is knowledge. I'm impressed with that. 25 grand for the winner. Worthwhile, Jordan. Decent bit of cash in your pocket if you win one of those.
Yeah, can't knock that, can you?
Not bad for a 3 days' work.
Absolutely. Okay. 2 out of 2, Jordan. Yes.
Yes.
Good. As the numbers get higher, I will check in with you. I can manage 2 out of 2, but I'll probably get lost at some point. Let's move on to question number 3. Held every year since the inception of the European Tour, the Austrian Darts Open title is currently held by who?
Johnny Clayton.
That is correct. Can you tell me, just for fun, can you tell me who he beat in the final?
He beat his fellow Welshman, Gerwyn Price, I believe.
And the score was?
Now you got me 8-5.
Oh my word, that is serious knowledge. Well done. Yes, it was 8-5. Can
we just stop now? Because I'm feeling quite happy with myself. End of the show, please.
And there's you telling me you're worried about the European Tour. You've absolutely smashed that out of the park, mate. Okay, good. Jordan, we are 3 out of 3, yes?
Yes, going well so far.
Good. He's got a smile on his face. He's just had a confident swig of Coca-Cola to lubricate. So, here we go with question number 4. Question 4. The European Darts Open, which I believe we've already touched on. The European Darts Open is held every year as part of the European Tour. In which country is it held?
Germany.
You look bemused, Josh. Were you bemused at how easy that question was?
No, not bemused, because I was just thought it's a trick question, because we talked about it being in Leverkusen, but I was just trying to think.
Yeah, so when we were talking about it earlier, I was thinking to myself, oh no, I'm asking him questions that we've already touched on. He's gonna get these easily.
I don't think I helped that earlier when I tried to confirm where it was being held.
Yeah.
Okay, Jordan, give us a score update, buddy.
4 out of 4.
4 out of 4. In that case, let's move on to question number 5. Okay, with his first win coming in 2014, how many times has Michael van Gerwen won the Dutch Darts Masters. With his first win coming in 2014, how many times has Michael van Gerwen won the Dutch Darts Masters?
Five?
So if the first win came in 2014 and he's won it, you think he's won it 5 times? That means he's won it every time he's entered it, yeah?
That's what I'm going for. I might be wrong.
You are correct. He has won it every single time. He's won it 5 times since his first win there in 2014. So pretty impressive record there, Josh, in the Dutch Darts Masters.
Yeah, awfully on home soil. Michael's always going to be motivated to try and, win and have more success. He beat Steve Lennon in last year's final, I believe. So, yeah, very good. It could be 6 this year.
Okay, Jordan, rather annoyingly, he's 5 out of 5 so far.
Yes, he is.
Okay, let's see if I can catch him out on question number 6. Josh, 3 different Englishmen have each won the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. Name all 3. And I do need all 3 for the full point. 3 different Englishmen have each won the Gibraltar Darts Trophy. Name all 3.
Michael Smith?
Correct.
James Wade?
Correct.
Phil Taylor?
That is correct. That is all 3. Just for fun, Phil Taylor was the first. What year?
2013?
Correct. Next was Wade in
2015?
2014.
Oh, okay.
And finally Smith in
2015.
2017.
Okay, fit out.
But you got all 3. Well done. That's what I was looking for. Taylor, Wade, and Smith. So 6 out of 6, Jordan.
Yeah, it's all going too well,
I'm
isn't
starting
it?
to lose hope. He's only 3 off smashing his record from the previous episode. So Neil's going to be furious if this is a complete whitewash in Josh's favour.
I don't think it will be. Don't worry.
I don't know. Okay, let's move on to question number 7. Question 7. The Danish Darts Open was part of the European Tour for the first time in 2018. Who won the title?
Oh, there's a hesitation.
Mensur Suljovic.
I'm starting to get annoyed now, Jordan.
Yeah, he didn't look confident there. I thought we got him.
For someone who was absolutely downtrodden and furious when I mentioned the European Tour, he's made a bloody good start. 7 out of 7. Okay, let's move on to question number 8. As of October 2018, Michael van Gerwen tops the list for the most amount of European Tour event final appearances. How many, and I'll give you to the nearest 5, does he have? So as of October 2018, Michael van Gerwen tops the list for the amount of European Tour event final appearances. How many to the nearest 5 does he have?
Tough one, this, John. He's won over 20. Might even... Oh, dear me.
Let's have a little bit of tumbleweed while we wait for Josh to
the
do
nearest
some work
5, you said.
To the nearest 5. As of October 2018, MVG tops the list for the most amount of European Tour event final appearances. How many to the nearest 5 does he have? So I'm giving you quite a bit of leeway there. I don't know if I'm being more generous than Neil would.
Yeah,
that's not that much.
I don't think Neil would give that much leeway.
We can give any. Oh, dear me.
Just have a little bit of snoring while Josh does some further working.
I'm going to guess 35.
The actual answer is 33. So you are within 2, and I asked for within 5. So we'll give you that. That is correct. Well done. 33 final appearances in the European Tour. That's some going, Josh.
Extremely impressive, and I think I'd wager that he's won the vast majority of those.
Okay, let's move it on then to question... We're 8 out of 8, aren't we, Jordan? Yeah. Let's move it on to question number 9. Okay, following on from that question, Josh. Name the other 2 players in the top 3 of finals appearances. So MVG is at the top of the list with 33 appearances in finals. Can you name the other 2 players in the top 3? I won't ask you how many they've got. I just want to know the players' names. I need both players' names for a correct point.
Peter Wright, I believe, is one.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
That's correct.
The other one's tough.
Have you got a few names that's in between?
Yeah, who are you thinking?
Well, see, Phil Taylor, the problem is with Phil, I can't remember how many events he entered. He didn't play the European Tour a lot the last few years, but I know he did win quite a few events. Michael Smith won 3 or 4 and competed in a few finals. He's another one. Wade's won a few. I'm going to go Michael Smith.
Oh, that is correct. And that was a bit of a risky one for you there, Josh, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't convinced, I must say, but just went with a hunch.
Just for fun, obviously, as we mentioned, MVG is top of the list with 33. Wright comes second. How many final appearances do you think Peter Wright has?
Ooh. 16?
Jordan, any guesses?
I'll go higher, 18.
No, it was 13.
Okay.
And in third place is Michael Smith. How many do you think he's got, Josh?
I'm going to go 8.
Jordan?
7.
8 is correct. Well done. Well done, well done. You're more of an expert on European Tour than you realise, Josh.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay, that is... what's the scores, Jordan?
It is 9 out of 9.
9 out of 9. God, I've got to trip him up or I'm going to be in serious trouble. Let's move on to question number 10. Question 10. Phil Taylor appeared in 4 European Tour event finals. Of those 4, how many did he win? Phil Taylor appeared in 4 European Tour event finals. Of those 4, how many did he win?
Tough one, this. I know for a fact he won 2 European Tour titles. I can remember them off by heart.
Do you know which ones they were off the top of your head?
They were the Gibraltar, which I mentioned, and it might be in the Austrian. Might be in the Austrian darts.
I don't know that. I don't have that to hand, but
he won a couple
of
years.
With your knowledge.
I think in 2016 he played in 1 European Tour event and won it.
Didn't play in a lot of tour events, as you alluded to earlier, Josh.
Yeah, I think obviously he scaled down the last couple of years. His ranking was so high that he wasn't under pressure to play the Pro Tour. He could just rely on the major tournaments. So, but yeah, I know for a fact he's won at least 2. Part of me thinking it can't be 4 because I'm sure Michael Smith hasn't won more than 4. Maybe he has, I don't know, it's tough to call. But I can't remember him losing one.
So all in all...
Yeah, I'm struggling a bit on this one.
Phil Taylor appeared in 4 European Tour event finals. Of these 4, how many did he win?
3.
Got him, finally. Got him, finally.
Go on, it was 4, wasn't it?
Should have gone with your instinct, mate. It was 4. He won all 4. Only ever appeared in 4 tour event finals, and he won all 4.
Yeah, as I said, I couldn't remember him losing. I just thought...
Yeah.
I didn't realise Michael won as many as he had.
Yeah. Jordan, we got him?
Yeah.
Happy days. I can put a smile on my face now.
It took a lot longer than I thought it would, to be fair.
I'm not going to get told off. No, you've done really well up to this point, mate. So and that was a tough question. So well done. Okay, let's move on then to question number 11. Raymond van Barneveld lays claim to just 1 European Tour event title, which occurred in Dusseldorf in 2012, as I think we've already alluded to. Name the tour event that he won.
It was the European Darts Open.
Yeah, of course it was. I think we've already mentioned that, haven't we? So I did fully expect you to get that.
Beat Chizzy in the final, I remember that.
All right, stop showing off. Jordan, can we get a score check, please?
Yeah, that's 10 out of 11. He's doing better than last time.
10 out of 11. He's broken the single figures. Okay, let's move on then to question number 12. Germany, and do you know what? This is such a tenuous link to the European Tour, so I apologise in advance.
Thank you, John.
Germany hosts a number of European Tour events, but it also hosts World Series of Darts events as well. Mm-hmm. According to the PDC, in 2018, the German Darts Masters went down in history as a record-breaking crowd for a darts event. 20,210 fans were in Gelsenkirchen for the event. Name the venue. And I do remember us discussing this on the podcast.
I know, it's the home of Schalke Football Club. Is that enough, or do I need the actual name?
I need the name of the venue.
It's not the Veltins Arena, is it?
Germany hosts a number of European Tour events, but it also hosts World Series of Darts events too. According to the PDC, in 2018, the German Darts Masters went down in history as a record-breaking crowd for a darts event. 20,210 fans were in Gelsenkirchen for the event. Name the venue.
I think this is one Neil would get.
I'm sure. So the home of Schalke Football Club's not enough.
I'm giving you nothing.
Is it the Veltins Arena? I don't know. I'm going to go with that.
Final answer?
Yeah. Oh, nasty. I mentioned that earlier.
Do you know what? I started to feel bad because I thought he has said the right answer.
Jordan was shaking his head at me.
Then I reread the question and I thought, if he changes his mind now, I'm going to get the blame for it. Yeah, it was the Veltins Arena. What an event that was, Josh. I remember watching that, and it was absolutely packed, wasn't it?
Unbelievable atmosphere. Yeah, Mensa Sudovic won that as well. The inaugural stadium of that. Beat Dimitri van den Berg in the final. I remember that one.
Right, that's kind of done me there, because question 13 was going to be...
Oh, sorry, John.
Who won the event? Okay, however, I have a bonus question in my pocket. So I'm going to move to the bonus question. So this will be question 13. You unfortunately, Josh, you should keep it in sometimes and not give the game away, because I'm not going to ask that question now because it's clear that you know it. So
too busy showing off.
Exactly. So I'm going to use my backup question. Okay. What's the scores, Jordan?
It is 11 out of 12.
Okay, let's move on to the new question 13. You can only blame yourself,
I'll get
Josh.
this wrong, I know it.
Okay, here we go. In the 2018 European Darts Match Play in Hamburg, Michael van Gerwen broke the curse and landed the first European Tour 9 darter for 5 years in his second round match versus Ryan Joyce. Who was the last player to achieve the feat?
Ross Smith.
Annoyingly correct. Well done, Ross
confident.
Smith. Can you tell me the year and the tournament that Ross Smith did it?
I know it was 2013.
Yes.
I'm not sure of the tournament. It was against Adrian Lewis, I believe.
Yes.
I don't know the tournament. I can't
It
remember.
was in the Gibraltar Darts Trophy, and interestingly enough, if you go on YouTube, Dan Dawson's commentated on
it's
that.
brilliant.
He
isn't
goes
it?
absolutely mental.
Oh, it's brilliant. Dan loves the European Tour. Who doesn't?
Yeah. So got away with one there, Josh. By I've given you the bonus question, and you've managed to answer it. So well done, Jordan. Score check, please.
12 out of 13.
Okay, let's move on to question number 14. Okay, we've already stated that Mensur Suljovic won the 2018 Danish Darts Open. Name the other European Tour event that Mensur has won.
That's a good one, that.
We've already stated that Mensur Suljovic won the 2018 Danish Darts Open. Name the other European Tour event that Mensur has won.
The problem with these European Tour events, they're all like the the German Grand Prix, European Grand. Oh dear.
I think the overriding comment there is, oh dear.
Yeah, I don't know. But there's so many, like the German Darts Championship, you've got the German Darts Masters. They're all
Okay, I'll give you a little
names.
tip. So all I'm looking for is the name of the tournament.
Yeah.
I will tell you that it was in 2016 that he won it.
I think I remember watching it. He beat Kim Huybrechts in the final. I remember that.
He did beat Kim Huybrechts in the final. Do you know the score?
It was 6-5.
It was 6-5.
I remember watching it.
All you need to do is tell me the name of the tournament. You've got everything right, other than the name of the tournament.
This is probably the easiest part of that equation as well.
It's not big.
Name the other European Tour event that Mensur has won in 2016.
I'm going to guess, but I'll probably be wrong. The European Darts Grand Prix.
It was the International Darts Open in Riesa, Germany. I feel bad because he defeated Kim Huybrechts. You even got the score right. But unfortunately, Josh, I was looking for the name of the tournament, and it was the International Darts Open.
Yeah, no, there's like I say, there's so many similarly named tournaments. It always trips me out, that one. But yeah, I remember the game. Well done, Mensur.
So 2 wrong, Jordan.
Yeah,
2
he's
wrong.
got 12 out of 14, and let's hope it's 12 out of 15.
Okay, here we go with the final question. A bit of a long question, this, so bear with me, okay?
Oh dear.
I think you'll get this. Each European Tour event features 48 players who qualify as follows. Top 16 from the Pro Tour Order of Merit, 18 UK qualifiers, 6 West Europe Tour Car Holder qualifiers, 4 Host Nation qualifiers, 2 West Europe qualifiers, 1 East Europe qualifier, and 1 additional qualifier from which specific region? Brilliant. I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to say that.
I've got top 16 of the Pro Tour Order Merit, the 18 UK qualifiers.
Okay, for the benefit of the listener, let's go through it again. Each European Tour event features 48 players who qualify as follows. Top 16 from the Pro Tour Order of Merit, 18 UK qualifiers, 6 West Europe Tour Card Holder qualifiers, 4 Host Nation qualifiers, 2 West Europe qualifiers, 1 East Europe qualifier, and 1 additional qualifier from which specific region?
Oh, it's Nordic or Baltic qualifiers.
That is correct, the Nordic and Baltic qualifier. Well done. Jordan, score update.
That is 13 out of 15. Very good.
13 out of 15 for European Tour. Josh, thoughts?
You know, I'm very pleased with that, John. I think at the start I was a little bit concerned, especially when I almost got question 1 wrong, but I should have got the Phil Taylor one. I went against my gut there.
Yeah.
And I knew too much about the Mensa one.
Yeah.
But not the name of the tournament.
Jordan, I think that represents a pretty good performance. We did trip him up twice, but I think also coupled with the surrounding knowledge that he gave us on the games and the events, I'm surprised he didn't start throwing out averages and what they had to drink backstage before they went on. But that was just showboating at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, he almost tripped himself up by showboating.
Almost.
Okay, Josh, 13 out of 15. Well done. Considerable improvement on last episode's performance. So well done. And hopefully Neil will be back for the next episode to take the reins back over from me and make it slightly harder for the next episode of Challenge Josh. Challenge Josh.
And you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Okay, chaps, it's time to have a look at some stories that have been circulating in the news. In the news. Okay, Josh, why don't you kick us off with a story about a forgotten man, if we're honest, Corey Cadby.
Yeah, we saw Corey Cadby last on the PDC circuit in the UK anyway, at the UK Open 12 months ago. He reached the final in Minehead, lost to Gary Anderson, then returned to Australia at home to try and obtain a visa. There was complications with his application, wasn't able to return to the UK, played in a couple of World Series events in Australia, down under. Tried to get back for the World Series of darts, but broke his arm, unfortunately, and wasn't able to compete in Vienna. Missed out on the World Championships. Like I say, he hasn't played a Pro Tour event for 12 months. But we heard the news on Wednesday that his visa application has now been granted, it's successful, so he will return to the PDC Pro Tour next month.
Jordan, it's a shame, isn't it? Because Corey Cadby, not too long ago, was a name on everyone's lips in terms of an emerging, upcoming star in the sport, and unfortunately, he's probably lost a little bit of momentum, hasn't he?
Yeah, it must have been hard for him watching all the up and comers, seeing Aspinall win his UK Open this year, and that could have been him. He was the next man up for most people. It's a shame that it's taken so long to get the visa sorted, but now hopefully he'll get back on track and start building some momentum towards the back end of the year.
Josh, he's an undoubted talent. When we've been asked questions before about upcoming players, Cadby's always been on our lips. If you go back to sort of early episodes of the JDP, he's someone we probably discussed at length. What do you reckon his chances are of not just, getting back into the swing of things, but, competing at the highest level?
It'll be difficult initially to try and challenge and compete for majors. We'll have to qualify for them, John. Obviously, he hasn't picked up any ranking money over the last 12 months, so it's going to be difficult to qualify for tournaments like the Match Play and the Grand Prix, but he'll be targeting the World Championship. He's got a good chance there. He won a Pro Tour title in his first month as a professional last year, so there's no reason why he can't come back on the Pro Tour and have success and try and build up from there.
Okay, let's move on to a controversial story involving the DRA and Mickey Mansell. What can you tell us about that, Josh?
Yeah, we've talked about the DRA at length over recent episodes, and their latest sanctions and fines were published on their website a week or so ago now. Mickey Mansell's fine was one that jumped out at everyone, really. He was fined £500 by the DRA for not playing to the best of his ability in his first round World Championship clash against Jim Long. I mean, I was working for Sky that day. I was blogging it. It was quite a poor contest. I think Mansell averaged 75, Long 75 as well. And we've seen Mansell win a Pro Tour last year. He's a great player on his day, but to me, it was astonishing, really. They could fine him for not playing to the best of his ability. I mean, you look at Van Gerwen the other week. He was off colour. Cross in the UK Open final, averaged 84. Is that worthy of a fine? I mean, why would you not be trying to play your best at a World Championship game? It's a total nonsense to me, to be honest.
What worries me, Jordan, is how do you define not playing to the best of your abilities? I mean, I try and, in any situation, I always liken these kind of things to other sports that I'm familiar with, football and stuff, and the age-old argument in football is, you take a tournament like the League Cup or the FA Cup and a manager will not field perhaps what would be recognised as his strongest side. And, there's a debate to be had about where managers place certain cups as their priorities, whether they're concentrating on league or cups or blah, blah, blah. Very difficult to kind of marginalise anyone, Jordan, and put them in that bracket because you're talking about one person on the stage. It's not a team game. He's not got a manager over the top of him. How do you go about defining whether somebody's played to the best of their ability or not?
Yeah, I think it sets a dangerous precedent because you don't know what's going on, like away from the hockey. You don't know if they're injured. No one can tell this apart from the player themselves.
Unless they're doing something really dramatic, like deliberately throwing their darts away and missing the board on purpose, or I think you've used the correct terminology there, Jordan. I think it's a very dangerous precedent.
Yeah, 100%. The fines of the DRA, they seem to make them up as they go along as well. So if they genuinely believed that, surely that would be a bigger fine considering going prices for a bit of argy-bargy on the stage. £500 for someone who you are basically deeming of throwing a game is a weird fine, I think.
Because that's the thing, they didn't really clarify. They didn't say he was throwing the match, though, because they didn't accuse him of match fixing. They said not throwing to the best of his ability. So, but, there's a lot of factors, like you said. Could be injury, could be illness, could be nerves. It's a World Championship game. Everyone wants to try and progress to the next round of the World Championship. The prize money on offer is very lucrative if you can get there. So to suggest, he wasn't putting 100% effort, to me, is ludicrous, really. But there we go.
Josh, this takes me back to quite a few episodes ago now with your interview with Dan Dawson. It was around the time when Gerwyn Price had been fined for what went on stage with Gary Anderson. Dan, he was worried about, these kind of things and the DRA's involvement. He was stating that, you're potentially putting one of the world's best players under pressure, and if he falls foul of the law again, then, you could see him not partaking in these tournaments going forward. And obviously we want to see the world's best players on the stage competing. Again, using that term, dangerous precedent, Dan Dawson highlighted his concerns, and I think he's got every right to.
Yeah, Wayne Mardle and Paul Nicholson as well voiced their disapproval at the DRA decision with Mansell. I mean, this is kind of unprecedented, really, territory for the DRA. I've never known them fine anyone for not playing to the best of their ability. There are a number of poor performances at the World Championship by players we expected better of, but we didn't see them getting fined. So I'm not really sure what's behind it. Mickey Mansell issued a statement, which I covered on my website, basically saying that his integrity has never been called into question by the PDC or DRA. But after consideration, he's decided not to appeal the fine because I think the appeal process is more expensive than the fine itself.
Too much paperwork and red tape, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, like I say, you're paying, I think, £3,000 I saw someone on Twitter to appeal a fine for a fine of £500. So is it worth the hassle and that goes with that? So it's a disappointing fine. I think I feel for Mickey there, but I suppose that's the DRA,
I'm sure Mickey will have his eyes on other players' performances now going forward to see if anyone sort of performs
in
the same vein
and
gets the same sort of punishment.
Yeah, 100%. I think the DRA need to clarify what they mean by this fine, because otherwise
it lacks transparency, doesn't it?
There's going to be a lot of performances that are going to come under scrutiny, and then how many people do you fine? Do you fine Gurney for losing 7-0 in the...
Well, exactly. And the thing is, now you've got Darts
in the
Connect.
Premier League?
You've got Darts Connect now, which for all the Pro Tour events, all the European Tour events, you can see every single match and every single average for the player.
Yeah.
There's no hiding place now. Before you couldn't see the averages for these Pro Tour events, so someone could say I had a great game, just lost unluckily. Now you can see what they averaged in what game, so it puts a lot more pressure and scrutiny on the players now.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll keep our eyes moving forward on the DRA and any other fines that come through. It's always interesting, Josh, when they publish their list of fines. How often do they publish?
I think it's usually around about every month they publish. Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep our eyes on that and see if there's any more instances of that. Josh, let's move it on. Can you give us some updates from the quite topical, because we've just been discussing it in Challenge, Josh? Can you give us some updates from the European Tour qualifiers?
Yeah, there were 2 qualifiers held in Wigan yesterday, John. The Robin Park Tennis Centre was in use again for the European qualifiers.
My favourite darting venue.
Yes, we had the qualifiers for the German Darts Grand Prix and also the German Darts Open. They'll be taking place in Munich and Saarbrücken respectively. We saw 8 players secure a qualification double. They included Steve Beaton, Stephen Bunting, Carl Anderson, Chris Dobey, Premier League contender. We also saw Brendan Dolan, Jamie Hughes, Ted Everts and Gabriel Clemens from the European side. Ted Everts also hit a 9-darter en route to qualification, his second of the year. Richie Edhouse also hit a 9-darter, so we saw 2 9-darters last night. Glenn Durrant qualified for the European Tour 3, averaged 110 in his final round of qualification. And we saw Barney get a little bit of form back and qualify for 1 European Tour event, averaging 106 to beat Jelle Klassen. So some big names could be competing on the European Tour next month, so great to see.
A little bit of form for Barney. Hopefully that can sort of kick-start him for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he's been really lacking in confidence. I mean, the ability's there. You don't lose that ability and the longevity he's had in the game, but when you're lacking in confidence, it's hard to produce. So hopefully it proves to be a bit of a kick-start for his season, yeah.
Excellent. And also, Josh, talk to me about Madas Razma.
We mentioned also in the challenge, Josh, about the Nordic and Baltic qualifiers for the European Tour, John, and they had their separate system, the Nordic and Baltic Pro Tour Order of Merit, and Madas Razma extended his lead at the top of that last weekend by winning event 3. That's his second title of the 2019. The other event was won by Swedish Ironman Dennis Nilsson. That was his second title in the PDC, so congratulations to them. And yeah, Razma missed out on a tour card at a European Q School, but looking good so far on the Baltic and Nordic Order of Merit.
Okay, cool. Let's move away from the PDC. Let's see what's been going on in the BDO lately, Josh.
Yep, last week was the BDO Isle of Man Darts Festival, an absolute array of different tournaments. The Isle of Man Open, the Isle of Man Masters, and the Isle of Man Classic. We had a lot of different winners, which is great. The Isle of Man Open was won by 2-time world champion Scott Waits, and in the women's section, Laura Turner winning her first major women's BDO title. So congratulations to her. In the Isle of Man Masters, Wesley Harms continued his great start to 2019 by winning that. Lisa Ashton, obviously, after a lakeside disappointment, bouncing back really well to prevail in the Masters. And finally, in the Isle of Man Classic, Richard Veenstra, another Dutchman, came out on top. And in the women's section, Lorraine Wynne-Stanley, obviously lakeside finalist in January. So, yep, congratulations to them.
Okay, Josh, anything else for the news section?
Nope, that's all for this episode, John.
Lovely job. Thank you very much. Right then, chaps, we are rapidly approaching the end of the show. But before we go, as always, it's time to have a little look on social media, find out what questions have been coming in, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. Okay then, Josh, let's have a little look on Twitter first, see what questions came in to the @Josh's Dartistry Twitter account. First question I've got here is from @Dermot_Snooker. They say, who's the dominant player or opponent of the next 10 years in Michael van Gerwen's mind? That's an interesting question because we've obviously always got our own thoughts on who is the pretender to the crown behind Michael van Gerwen. But the question is, who is it in Michael van Gerwen's mind?
I think now, I know he's injured, or he has been, but Gary Anderson's always the one I think Michael knows that if Gary, even if Michael's playing at a really high level, he knows that Gary Anderson's got the game to beat him. But obviously, Gary's hinted that he's not going to be playing. You know, I don't think we'll be seeing Gary Anderson playing in 10 years' time, for example. Yeah. I think he would have retired by then. For 10 years, probably Rob Cross or Michael Smith. They're the two. I mean, they're both young. Cross is 28, Smith, I think, the same age. there's no reason they won't still be playing top-class darts in 10 years' time. We've looked at the likes of Aspinall, Van Bird as one, all more than capable, but obviously Cross and Smith at present I think would be the most likely to kind of dethrone Michael.
Jordan, I don't disagree with Josh. I think the first name on my lips to answer that question in Michael van Gerwen's own mind is Gary Anderson.
Yeah, I agree, yeah. Gary Anderson is the player who can keep up with Michael van Gerwen at the moment. But I do agree with Rob Cross as well. I think he still has a little bit of a memory of that World Championship game 2 years ago. And I don't think that will go away. I think he sees him as a threat.
Josh, with Gary Anderson obviously not taking part in the Premier League this year, in terms of stamina, do you think that will bode him well for the rest of the season after the Premier League finishes?
Yeah, I think it will do. I mean, he's playing in the Players' Championship this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in that. I think it's important for Gary now to focus on the big tournaments. He doesn't play the European Tour events. He picks and chooses his Pro Tours, but obviously the match play's coming up. He wants to defend his title there. We saw him at the UK Open, went out first round, but he played well against Steve Beaton, so I think he's got his eyes on now the match play, obviously the Grand Prix, Grand Slam, and obviously the Worlds later on in the year. They're the tournaments he's going to be pinpointing, I think, yeah.
Okay, moving on. We've had a chat about Cadby, but let's ask this question anyway. At DartsWeb1 on Twitter has asked thoughts on Corey Cadby's return to the tour. Could he pick up where he left off and secure a place at the Worlds this year, Josh?
Yeah, I think there's no reason why Corey can't secure a place at the Worlds. Obviously, he's going to be playing next month, so he'd have missed a few Pro Tour events so far, but there's going to be 30 separate Players' Championship events held this year, so he's going to be able to play the lion's share of them. He'll be able to try and qualify for the European Tour, possibly get some prize money from there, and I see no reason why he can't work his way up and maybe qualify for the World Championship. Yeah, of course.
Jordan, you echo those comments?
Yeah, I think he's got a good chance. Great to see him back, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Okay, also on Twitter, Alfred Sparrow, whose Twitter handle is @SparrowAlfred, asks, last year many were saying Wade and Lewis were over. Clearly Wade has proved them wrong, but are people right to say Lewis is over? Josh?
No, not at all. I don't think you can write off Adrian Lewis. I mean, he's still relatively young in darting terms. I think he's, 33, 34 now. He's had a difficult time, Adrian, with injury a couple of years ago. I think his wife was also quite unwell. She's now better, thankfully. But it's been a difficult time in his personal and professional life for Adrian. But he's a world-class player. He reached 4 Pro Tour finals last year. He didn't win any of them, but he was getting to the latter stages of those tournaments. Having fallen out the top 16 last year, he's back in there now. So we saw him at the Worlds against Michael. He lost in the last 16, but he played really well against Van Gerwen. I think he could be a good year for Adrian. Just needs to get a bit of confidence back, a few big wins against big players on the stage.
Talking of Adrian.
Hi, it's Adrian Lewis, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry podcast.
Friend of the show.
Good little plug there, John. I like it.
Jordan, you a fan of Adrian Lewis?
Yeah, I think, as he mentioned in the interview he did with Josh, he's still got the fire there. And I think if he's still got the fire there, he's got potential to go back to winning ways. And when he's playing well, he's great to watch. I think everyone enjoys watching him.
Okay, Josh, I think that's all I've got on Twitter. I believe you've got some more questions via your Facebook account, yeah?
Yep, I've got one question. Well, 2 from Kurt Dexter, but one was around Corey Cadby, a very similar one, which we already answered. He's also asked, what's the best practice game to improve your doubling?
Well, who's the most experienced darts player around this table to answer that question? Well, certainly not me.
Well, I'm not a great doubler, I must admit. I'm not a great darts player, to be honest. But I know a lot of the players at a professional level, they practice like combination finishes, like 121, from 120 to 130, because obviously they're the ones you go, for the treble, 2 trebles, or maybe a bullseye combination. So I think they're maybe the best ones. I think repetition, really. Don't focus too much on your scoring and just keep practicing. Practice makes perfect.
I have seen a piece of equipment out there. They're like little rings, right? And you can put the rings on the dartboard over the particular double you're aiming at.
Yeah, you can do that for scoring too as well.
Yeah, and you're trying to sort of aim for that to get
it's
inside
just
the ring.
Grouping.
Absolutely, yeah.
So obviously, if you're a little bit inconsistent and you lose a weight at the dart, that can really try and improve your consistency. So yeah, that's a good one.
Jordan, you were famously terrible on Lord of the Board when we watched you throw some arrows, but I'll ask you anyway. Any tips on that?
Aim at the board, because I didn't do that too well.
It's great advice. Aim at the board. Fantastic. Hopefully that's answered your question. Josh, what else we got?
Another one from Kurt. He says, who outside of Michael van Gerwen and Gary Anderson, if he plays, can win multiple major titles this year? Tough one. I think it's going to be tough for anyone outside of Michael van Gerwen to win maybe multiple majors, but who'd have said Nathan Aspinall would win the UK Open? I think if there was one candidate outside of those two, I'd say Rob Cross. He's playing really, really well. I think he's threatening to win a big title soon. Michael Smith, he's been knocking on the door, whether he can win multiple majors, but we saw Wade win 2 in a week last year, so it's certainly possible.
The word in that question that's key for me is multiple, and on that basis, my answer would be nobody.
Yeah.
I see Van Gerwen dominating, and Anderson perhaps picking up one or two majors alongside him. I don't see anyone else picking up more than one. You know, you get people who are capable of picking up titles. The Gerwen Prices, the Peter Wrights of this world. I don't see anyone picking up 2-3 this year, not at all.
No, it's going to be very difficult, I think. I'd agree with that. The strength in depth now.
Jordan, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so. Unless someone, like last year, Wade had a freak run of form for about
won
a
2
month.
television events, didn't he?
In a
Last
week,
year?
yeah. Back to back.
He played really well, so there is potential, but I can't see it, to be honest. It has to be a really good run of form to knock off Van Gerwen and Anderson.
Okay, Josh, who's next?
Teresa Donald has asked, what does Mensah do at the table during games? Does he put his scores into a gadget?
Now, when you preempted me about this question, I was a bit confused because I must admit I haven't watched Mensah's activity that closely. But you tell me that when he does return to the table after every throw, and he does do something, but it's not that, is it, Josh?
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He was doing it quite frequently against James Wade. I think that's why maybe Teresa's asked the question, because he was doing it a lot. But he's got a chalk that he always uses to try and obviously improve his grip with the doubling. He's got quite a unique throwing style, Mensah. So he just uses chalk to retain his grip. We saw Taylor use it as well in his pocket. We often saw Taylor with his pocket, putting his fingers in his pockets when he was playing. That's obviously use chalk and try and improve his grip.
Maybe they've got sweaty hands.
Exactly.
Well, dry up the moisture a little bit.
With the big lights on the big stage,
Sorry, Jordan, I cut you off there. Go on, bud.
How often does he do it? Is it like a regular thing, or is it like between legs?
I think it depends on matches. He often does it in between visits. We saw him doing quite often against Wade, but obviously when he's going for big finishes, when he's on a double, for example, he does it quite often then.
I do like the thought of him going back to the table, though, to add up his own score, despite the fact that there is a chalker on the stage. I think that'd be, maybe he's just checking to make sure they haven't made a mistake.
Exactly, yeah. Just being conscientious. I like it.
Okay, Josh, got anything else for us?
Yeah, one more question from Jenny Murta. She asked, with the venues getting bigger and prize money increasing, is the game in danger of pricing itself out of the market? I've been to the Premier League, UK Open and Players' Championship finals myself, but have decided to spend my time and money on exhibition evenings, as you certainly get more bang for your buck there. I agree with her on the exhibition evenings. I mean, I think they're great events. I've been to one or two. I'd like to get to a few more, but obviously all the players are brilliant. That's the great thing with darts. In other sports, they can be a little bit distant, some of the stars, whereas in darts they're more than happy to have a chat, have a photo, sign an autograph, which is great, and you get to see them up close and personal. But I don't think the game's pricing itself out of the market. I think the prices are very reasonable. When you see some of the prices I pay for Arsenal tickets every week.
Well, that's a waste of money.
Coming from a Spurs fan, but no, I don't think it does price itself out of the market. I think the World Championship tickets were very reasonable, especially early on in the tournament. So I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think the prices are quite good. I went to World Championships not this year, the year before, and the prices for a ticket there, and I think they stayed similar last year, were very reasonable. I think the tables were about £50 and the seats were about 25-30. So
I think obviously it goes up as the tournament goes on, but in the early rounds,
decent thing to watch the biggest darts title. And as you mentioned, like football tickets, for a Fulham ticket for a child against Chelsea, it's £73.
Wow. And you think with the darts, you're getting 4 hours entertainment there. Starts at around 11. Starts at 7, finishes around 11. So I think it's very reasonable. You're seeing great entertainment.
And if Paddy Power has sponsored it and there's a 9-darter, you might get your money back anyway, as we mentioned on the last show.
Exactly.
It's my ambition to get to a few more tournaments. I've only ever been to the Worlds at Ali Pali. Been sort of 3, 4, 5 times to Ali Pali for the Worlds, but I need to go and experience darts in a different venue, I think, and go and see some of the smaller tournaments and take in the atmosphere. I need to spread my wings a bit, Josh.
Yeah, I've been to a few events in a media capacity. I've been to the Masters, not this year, last year, Milton Keynes. That was a great event, quite an intimate venue, but good atmosphere. Been to a couple of Premier League nights. They're quite raucous, I've got to say. I'd love to go to somewhere like the Match Play, or the UK Open, for example, because they're kind of like real family sort of events. People go down for the week or the weekend, real, darts connoisseurs, if you like. So I think that'd be a great event to go to.
I don't want to be an advocate for ticket exchange websites, but I have to say every time I've gone to the Worlds, I've not bought them immediately when they've been released by the PDC, mainly because I'm not a member of the PDC website, and you get advanced ticket sales, don't you, when you're a member?
Yeah, you get priority sales.
Priority sales. I always pick up my tickets maybe a week before the night I want to go, particularly for the Worlds, and I find people on different websites, sort of selling tickets, not ticket touts, but people who've perhaps bought tickets and now can't make it, and try and pick up tickets that way. But in terms of the pricing, they've got to cover their costs. They've got to make it competitive because there's so many other sports and events and days out and trips that you can do. So they've still got to try and keep it competitive though, Josh, and not price people out of the market.
I agree. But I completely agree. But I don't think they do that. Like we said, I think it's very reasonable. You're seeing great entertainment. The atmosphere is always brilliant. But I do agree with a point about the exhibitions. I think if anyone hasn't been to one, I'd highly recommend it. I mean, there's a lot of ones, locally, globally, but they're brilliant fun. You get to see the players up close, have a chat with them. They're all very down to earth. So yeah, I'd highly recommend exhibition events.
Cool, good advice. Any more questions, Josh?
No, that's all for this episode, John.
Excellent stuff. Well, thanks for your questions. We always appreciate them. Don't forget to send them in for the next episode. Best way to do that is by tweeting us at Josh's Dartistry. Okay, chaps, that brings us nicely to the end of the show. What a packed show it's been, Josh. Plenty to discuss this episode.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Premier League, John. The action just comes so thick and fast, doesn't it? Well, we had the UK Open as well last month, but looking forward to next episode, and by then I'd have been to Rotterdam.
Oh, wow. Hopefully you make it back alive.
Well, it's funny you say that. I'm flying back on March the 29th, which is when we're meant to be leaving the EU.
Oh, my word.
So that could be very interesting.
Get stuck up over there in Red, although I think there was a vote the other day, wasn't there? They've delayed it till sort of June time, so...
Yeah, but if I'm not back for the next podcast, you know where I am. I'm stuck in transit.
That's all right, we've got Jordan on the bench as always. Jordan can always come in.
Challenge Josh could be interesting though, couldn't it?
Challenge Jordan could be interesting. I feel a Fulham Football Club special coming on.
Oh dear, that's depressing.
Anyway, thanks for listening to the show, guys. Thanks for downloading episode 13. Just a few points of reference, if I may. Follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry. Also check out Josh's Facebook page. Just do a search for Josh's Dartistry on Facebook. You can log on to the website, check out Josh's articles on there, www.joshsdartistry.com. If you want to leave us a question on the voicemail box, the phone number is 07739 738 329. That's 07739 738 329. Once again, I'd just like to thank Nathan Aspinall for coming on the show and giving up his time to have a chat with Josh. Always welcome on the show, buddy. So thanks for that. Thank you to you, Jordan, off the subs bench for the third time. I think you've done an excellent job deputising for Neil. We look forward to Neil's return. But as ever, Jordan, great contribution, mate. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And Josh, well done, mate. 13 out of 15 on Challenge Josh. Must be proud of that.
I am pleased with that, John. Much better than my previous attempt where I got 9 out of 15. I feel like I've redeemed myself a little bit there.
Excellent stuff, excellent stuff. Okay, on that basis, let's bring the show to a close, and we'll see you next time for episode 14.